Yes, sir.
Yeah. Use your mind. God Zodiac. Priesthood. Priest. Royal priesthood. Yeah. Royal priesthood. At 86, the devil raised the bar, but I'm a hurdler. And I'm the good thief. I sneak in your toxic house, the burglar. The musical Merkaba came to set free the Lucifer worshippers. Like James Bond 007, the soul of an old legend. Negative energy murderer. Good or evil, angel or demon interpreter. Kings with frankincense and myrrh. And perfumes anoint me soon as my birth occur. Like Ben-Hur, I'm indigenous to Gilgamesh. With brilliantness became the builders of the pyramids. Now we lost in American North wilderness. I became the force, a poor man's ventriloquist. On the island far away from home like Gilligan. Took us from our villages till we find our way back through resilience and our diligence. Two rags and wave caps, black fists look militant. And college remembrance, while living ignorance. Driving kids with innocence, dreams fly limitless. Straight towards the nebula, with cannon or the terror. Black boys face, we all in this together. I chase demons in my cape, my sword and my scepter. His brother Glow the Great, the lord of this era. Royal priesthood, gold plates and treasures. Anubis, my eye, wear your heart against the feather. Carted Satan out your soul, lifting him out, he's on a stretcher. With my divine helicopter, with shocking propellers. The outlines made of copper, the fortune teller. My dragon glows green like matcha. New York regalia, like Robin Walker is the prophet Walter. From the days of Iron Sheik versus Sergeant Slaughter. Blue around my garment borders. Fringes, execute vengeance. Mathematics, Qurans and Taurus. Rock the head of Horus. Rocks in the watch is gorgeous. Behind my will, it fell into the wheel. Metamorphing. Start spinning clockwise then counterclockwise. On the outside, my car became a flying saucer. Straight through the orbit. Use my mind. I won't lose my mind. I will use my mind.
Yo, masquerade killer, Michael hijack the sun, matinee thriller. Zombie apocalypse, a center for disease, says my tracks are way iller. Isodrenochrome cubes keep they cabernet chiller. And thought to start, they don't want you to think. Knowledge is power, shock the flowers, make my aura look pink. To know the ledge, godly hour, push your thoughts to the brink. You can't even close your eyes, become a corpse if you blink. Where the oracle sink, I was born in the Sphinx. Copper DNA necklace with historical links. Hiding poison in the food, in the water you drink. Cause they raised done and they just biding their time. Throw food, the lost tube coming down on my mind. Stab you with a light ray cause you was dying to shine. Then I disappear like a truth post in your IG. Holy Spirit dripping like a ghost in your IV. Can't deport them all, we was already here. So get in tune with the voices in the water right here. You don't see the embryo in the form of your ear. Invisible man, I make myself awfully clear. Royal priesthood, astrologers is Lord of the Spears. Throwing platinum plates, you thought the flying saucers appeared. Yeah, they scared to wear their own face in the street. Deep elixirs, beast addicted to the taste of the sheep. On Harry Potter's wheel, the god knew arrange my physique. Kai, Elohim, Globin, the Arabian chic. 7 circles like the planets in the days of the week. Supreme math, solar facts in the language I speak. You brainwashed if you watching the news. Never make the wrong step when the laws in my shoes. The dream weaver make it seem there's no option to choose. Corona dope fiends, they be trying to nod. They in line to get shot, that's a fireman squad. Pharmaceutical, shoot to kill line with the gods. I cried for the angel babies that have died in the fog. Caught up in the crossfire, like a panther in a Clare rally. Zodiac, they need these answers in my hands badly. Like palm readers, break dancers in the sand valley. I moonwalked on chemtrails in the sky. On the path to ancient Kemet, weigh the scales in my eyes. The sun and moon temple sitting on the side of my head. A million years I still remember every line that I said. Hermes Trismegistus, serve me the statistics. 99 9 attributes of Allah, 99% survival rate. Imagine the odds when you're the Neo, you're the one that made the patterns evolve. Another chapter to solve, why the Saturn revolve. Spinal column, I am Amen, climb the ladder to Oz. On a rocket to Nebula, the planet of the gods. Use my mind, I won't lose my mind, I will use my mind, I won't lose my mind, use my mind. Musical math, get used to the craft, use my mind, turn the mic to a producer your staff. Trying to fit these odd shapes in a box. Tetragram of time, Tetris, see my face in the watch. Circle of life displayed in an arrangement of clocks. You can't be so diplomatic when you're breaking the locks. God Zodiac, Killer Priest, Wrong Priest.
All right. Greetings, family, and thank you once again for joining us for this edition of the EtheReal Journey podcast. All right, you have entered into the Ethereum. Welcome aboard. All right, with that being said, I am your co-host for this evening, Brother Lumumba Uncaged, also known as Captain Uncaged. I have with me my good brother L Pollinator in the building.
Shalom, everyone. All my good, righteous, and beautiful peoples.
All right. And thank you for joining us for this edition of New Day. Oh, excuse me. We just finished that. For this edition of the EtheReal Journey podcast, we just finished up with a special edition of New Day Resurrection and Liberation. And, we had our Meet the Author Day. This is the second edition where we previewed and continue to premiere the phenomenal ebook series, Voices of the Diaspora, with Brother Knowledge Born Allah.
Yeah. KBA, KBA.
All right. One of our other illustrious co-hosts here on the EtheReal Journey podcast. All right. And so folks is coming into the room. All right. Thank you for joining us, coming on board to the Ethereum. All right. So folks is coming on in. All right. Also, I'll check shortly on our other feeds as far as with Facebook Live, and we're also live on YouTube, family. All right. With that being said, let me tap in real quick with the EtheReal journalist. How you be? How you been? Looks like we waiting for Sister Empress to come on board. But right now we got Brother Pollinator, and I think we got Brother Knowledge Born Allah in the engineering room. You know what I'm saying? Engineer extraordinaire. So we're waiting for him to come on to the main stage as well. With that being said, though, let me come over to Brother L Pollinator. How you be? How you been? Just checking in, good brother.
Thank you, Captain Uncaged. Everybody, I'm doing great. I'm just doing what we do. I was up from early in the morning checking out the lunar eclipse / blood moon. Just gazing and just doing what I do. Taking in that beautiful moon energy, because there's some things happening in the universe, as everyone knows. Some people wasn't probably able to see it because of a cloud cover, or skies wasn't open enough for them to actually witness the lunar eclipse. But that's what we do. We soak up the universe. I always say, when the stars are lined up, the universe conspires with us, and then that's when you got to read the stars, because that's what we came from. We came from those systems, and we understand the whole makeups of everything in our galaxy, in our cosmos, and our whole entire universe. When you really plug into those elements, and it lines up with everything. I always say back bass. Play the bass, balance, alignment, stability, and synchronicity. And being in alignment with stuff like a lunar eclipse, solar eclipse, what's happening with the X flares coming off of the sun, these are all the things that, as an ethereal journalist, we try to bring to the table and try to introduce certain concepts and insights that we go through, like grounding and sun gazing and just doing things to sort of like enhance your avatar or your meat suit, because, eating all this stuff that you got going on out here, we almost need to probably be like plants now and do just strictly photosynthesis with the sun, because it's just that deep right now. The food is not giving us the nourishment and providing the things that we need, but I try to stay in tune to that whole piece, grounding, sun gazing, and just tuning into the frequency of the universe and getting that energy, that good energy. So with that being said, I want to say upward, forward, onward. This is our 37th episode of the EtheReal Journey podcast, and I'm just glad to be here, and I can't wait for the show to get started. I yield.
All right, absolutely. All right, and before I move to Brother Knowledge, any updates for us? What you got going on? What's on the front burners? What you got cooking?
Well, we I think we talked about it a little bit last show. We just released the second phase of our public service announcement with the syphilis tsunami neo soul remix type of style, where we're trying to just reach out to a more broader audience, because at the end of the day, the message is what's important here. It's the music, and yeah, you want to be able to, do what you do. But at the end of the day, the lyrics and what we put in the songs is what we're trying to reach the public for and get them to go get their butts checked. And that's pretty much the theme of the song. Go get your butt checked, because syphilis is running rampant, and because the government is not funding a lot of these local, state, and federal programs anymore. And it's probably ain't going to be that much more anyways, because guess what? They just kicked off a war over in Iran. So who you think is going to get most of the money? The soldiers got to be fed. They got to be housed. They got to be protected. So a lot of domestic, I guess, agenda type of programs that were once a staple in every health department and state health department and the federal side of things is probably going to be continuing on the way it is, because they're going to funnel all that money toward that war machine. And people better get ready, because these diseases getting ready to get out of control. Like syphilis has already been out of control for the last few years. So I just encourage people to stay on their grind and understand that protect yourself at all times. So that's what we're doing right now with the second phase of the syphilis tsunami, giving people personal accountability and responsibility to go out there and get themselves tested. Like we said on one show, get that paperwork now, because you're going to need to know who you're dealing with and what kind of diseases they may be carrying that they might be trying to drop off and drop off on your avatar. So just be protective of yourself at this stage. And that's all we're doing with the syphilis tsunami public service announcements. And with that being said, yeah, that's it. Uh-oh. That ain't it.
Oh, is the audio with this one?
Yeah, the audio, but were you on? You on the page?
Yeah, I'm on the page. Yeah.
Yeah, go like to the fourth video and it'll show you the whole.
Okay, all right.
The whole joint.
Okay, yep.
Scroll up. There we go. I'll tell you when to stop. Keep going. I think it's not that one, but it's the next one. That one right there.
Okay, all right. Let's get it.
Thank you, man.
Yes, sir. Uh-oh. I'm not hearing the audio.
Uh-oh, brother.
Well, let me close out. Let me try to bring it back. I'm not sure if I do something wrong with the. Let me stop my share real quick. I don't know if I did something wrong with my share. I thought it automatically shared the audio. Let me see again. Let me see. Let me come in. Oh, share. Yeah, share audio. Yeah. It should have been automatically engaged. So let me try this again.
There you go.
This is a public service. We got a problem here called a syphilis. Tsunami, flood in the earth. Tsunami, baby.
Baby, her.
Tsunami, some
Maybe some dead bird.
hate to
Hey,
see these
to see
babies
these
being
babies being
buried in
buried in
dirt.
dirt. No,
It's hella
it's hella
crazy, I
crazy.
never
I never
understood. When
understood.
did we
When
stop
did we
protecting
stop
babies in
protecting
the
babies in the
hood? Cut
hood?
off at the
Cut off at
roots
the
with no
roots with no
chance to
chance
grow.
to grow.
Never
Never
become fruit trees
become
for
fruit trees
deuces, they need to
producers. They need
sow.
to
What's up
sow.
with the
What's up
dude?
with
You
the
know the
dude? You know
down
the
low.
down low.
Secretly
Secretly.
bisexual, so just call him by love. Girlfriends and wives, clueless, don't even know. Now you got the health department knocking on your door, telling you got syphilis with a baby in tow. Now you gotta get treated if you want baby to grow. Your man comes home and you tell him so. Now his eyes all bugged out, his mouth done hit the floor. Baby, 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 what you talking about? She said, I got syphilis, it's the baby I'm worried about. Could've only got it from you, I've been faithful and true. He said, baby, 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 what you want me to do? Syphilis, tsunami, flood in the earth. Syphilis, tsunami, baby's hurt. Syphilis, tsunami, from dead at birth. Hate to see these babies being buried in dirt. Tsunami, flood in the earth. Tsunami, babies hurt. Tsunami, from dead at birth. Hate to see these babies being buried in dirt. Skeegy, what the hell is that? Tuskegee experiments, man, when blacks were studied like rats. Left untreated with syphilis, Google search, get your facts. Hope you find the truth, you can't turn the clock back. Latest stats and numbers confirm syphilis is back. I can't recall in Philly, it was spread by sex and crack. Now back to this future because that's where we're at. Repeating history again because knowledge we lack. Pay my tax like everyone else, so no surprise. But hey, my money being used to subsidize our demise. They say change gonna come, but I ain't seen it yet. Put it online, odds makers, I might even place a bet. Will true reform happen or not? And what are the odds? Gotta do my research first and check out who's in charge. The ones controlling tax dollars, acting like men who not. Tsunami, flood in the earth. Syphilis, tsunami, babies hurt. Syphilis, tsunami, some dead at birth. Hate to see these babies being buried in dirt. Tsunami, flood in the earth. Tsunami, babies hurt. Tsunami, some dead at birth. Hate to see these babies being buried in dirt. Sleep with me, I'm like AVP, alien versus predator. One better to see, I hunt you down, squash your life in the ground, get my flesh per pound. You think I'm playing around, invasion of the body snatchers. You know I get you like an MVP. You know you're my trophy like Will Smith. I am legend, that's why you're sweating. Coming in for the kill, you're the food I'm prepping. Godzilla ain't nothing but a made-up thriller. King Kong ain't nothing but a big gorilla. But I'm full of the number 2 killer, visible to this world like a motion picture. A biblical plague from Revelation's page, infecting gay and straight, the young and old. I got millions of stories that'll never be told. Yeah, millions and millions of stories that'll never be told. Yeah, face facts, man, I'm like McDonald's. Hate to see these babies being buried in dirt. Babies hurt. Dead at birth. Hate to see these babies being buried in dirt. One last parable that I would like to say before the horsemen of the apocalypse come riding your way. I'll enter your city all up in South Philly. Your private parts is where my mission starts. Then I'll head up to your vitals and tear them apart. Team up with death in Center City and take your heart. Go get your butt checked.
Dope. All right, Syphilis Tsunami on all streaming platforms. Go ahead, give me them platforms, El Pollinator.
Well, yeah, it's you could get it on YouTube, the video. You can get it on TikTok, X. It's playing on Instagram and Threads. And then also you can go and download it because it's on all music platforms, Apple, Spotify, Amazon. Just like you go and purchase any other song, you can download it to your system and you can listen to it in your car, or you can go into like, what's the other ones that they, the regular radio ones that they be having. It's on those as well. I forgot the name of them. It's like 27 musical platforms that are mainly the main ones that people go to and listen to their
radio, all that good stuff.
Yeah. You could do iHeart. It's on that, and all those good other stations and everything. So we're getting a lot of play right now. We're starting to get a lot of feedback. What our main thing is to get it into the communities as well, so that they can start listening to it from a different perspective. Been getting a lot of great reviews on it, being the fact that it's more on a neo soul tip, because I had the first one I did was actually a more of a hip hop rap type of piece, and then we just flipped it into the neo soul piece, and then just to appeal to a more broader audience as well. And at the end of the day, it's about public service announcement. We got a problem in this country, and it ain't going nowhere no time soon. So go get your butt checked. That's the main thing. Go get your butt checked and do what we got to do to survive, man. Because while we got all these things popping off, we still got to take care of these avatars, and we still gonna do what we do as natural human beings, and that's have sex, and if that's what you into, if you're not celibate or abstinent or practicing abstinence and things like that. So we just encourage people to just be on high alert when it comes to having a mate and exposing yourself to new partners or multiple partners at this stage of the game, because this thing is spreading like a wildfire. So that bomb or the nuke that blew up at the end of the that you put up there at the end of the song, that's pretty much what it's doing. The mushroom cloud, and it's spreading like wildfire. You know what I mean? So we just encourage people to go and check out the song and send it to your local radio stations, because I think this version is more radio friendly as well. So we're trying to get them to start playing on the radio as a PSA, public service announcements. We're available for performances. We're available to go and speak to the colleges and even the high schools about STDs, because that's what I did for 20 some plus years. I worked in public health in Philadelphia and in Mecklenburg County and in Charlotte, North Carolina, and a couple other places. But at the end of the day, that's my expertise. That's my knowledge, skills, and abilities to go out and teach people and educate them about how to protect themselves from all these different communicable diseases that are attacking our bodies and our avatars. So that's what I do. That's my specialties. And we're available, to come in and speak to the students and the children or whatever, if you're in high school and doing the things that we do. And we're also trying to put together, we're in the process of putting together with the Million Woman March, anything dealing with Black maternal health issues or Black women's health issues, period. STDs is one of the main ones that a lot of our Black women are contracting. So we want to protect our Black woman at the end of the day. And some of these guys that's on the buy low, they used to call it down low, but I call it buy low, bisexual and low down, because that's what they're doing. They're being deceptive, they're lying, and they're not letting their women know that they're having, relations with the same sex. And they're the ones that are bringing the infection back to the, home front.
And that's why people get more information, get in contact with you, follow up with you, so on and so forth. As far as presentations, so on and so forth.
Oh, you can reach me on El Pollinator, ELPOLLINATOR 444 at gmail.com. What is Shep's number? I have to get the number from Shep, but I'll have it before the end of the show. And that's my the DJ that helped produce all the music and everything and all the visuals and things for the whole piece. So I'll get that information. But yeah, El Pollinator 444 at gmail.com. And feel free to reach out if you're trying to educate your your communities. We're coming in, and hopefully we'll continue to build with Sister Filet and the Million Woman March with the whole Black maternal health issues, as well as just Black women's health issues, period, and continue to just educate our people and alert them, because a lot of women don't know, and a lot of guys don't know. A lot of children and teenagers don't know. A lot of our old people who are still engaged in sexual activity don't even know that this thing is spreading as it is in our community. So, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And if you could work on putting that in the chat for me too, please, and then I'll go ahead and share that out as well, on our other streams. All right.
Thank you.
thank you once again, El Pollinator, and the premiere on EtheReal Journey podcast of the syphilis tsunami video and PSA. All right.
Man, you try to shock me with that one. you got me with that one. I wasn't expecting that. Because I don't talk about too much of what I do on the side, but we got all, like you said, it's all related, connected, and associated. So I appreciate it, just like we're trying to do with what we're doing with Million Woman March, Myotic Man, the brother Knowledge Born's ebooks about the Black diaspora and history. So yeah, we got to put this stuff out there because we're not just people coming on this show and just talking about the issues that we're going through as a community and as a nation. But guess what? We have some other things that we're doing, and we're collaborating with our people for, that's on the same soul tribe and, same soul family as us. So yeah, go get Brother Knowledge Born's ebooks, sign up for the.
You jumping ahead. I'm about to come to it right now.
My bad. No, I slow down there. I'm gonna slow down and give it back to you, Cap.
Yes, sir. Thank you once again, Brother Pollinator. With that being said, let me bring on the one and the only Brother Knowledge Born. Allah. What's happening? How you been, Brother Knowledge?
Captain Cage, man. I'm gonna take a moment for my own public service announcement. Now, Pollinator, y'all see how Brother Cat, man, starting on this real quick, man. I need y'all to do knowledge to what's happening. You understand what I'm saying? We hopped on the EtheReal. You understand what I'm saying? But he on the top floor of the EtheReal. You understand what I'm saying? He looking flush. Check his background now. You understand what I'm saying? Check him out now. You understand what I'm saying? He ain't playing out here, right?
I'm just trying to keep up here, brother. I'm just trying to keep up. You're an inspiration. You know what I'm saying? To my continual progress.
Right. You know what I'm saying? This packaging presentation is key out here. You know what I'm saying? So it's good to go. I love this EtheReal journey that we on together. You understand? Honest to the Most High, honest to our ancestors and the spirit of our mothers, and the spirit of our fathers, and the spirit of our children, and in the spirit of our holistic reformation on every level, So from the ethers to the material, I'm honored to be here with my family, with my brothers, and when Doc Empress get on, that ancient wisdom that she provides and that clarity. So yeah, I'm here. I was thankful, you know what I'm saying? They gave me a chance, El Pollinator, to start a little bit earlier, you know what I'm saying? I got to start in pure ebook fashion, you understand what I'm saying? Inspired and gave an opportunity for some giveaways to some organizations and some families tonight, you see what I'm saying, based off of their behest, so that space of skin in the game.
Beautiful.
So arming folks with this information that's timely, right? So if you wasn't singing El Pollinator, I'd be like, yo, who that singing over here? So let me slide it over here to you. You understand what I'm saying? We got
I didn't know I was on. I thought I had mic'd myself because I like when the song come out, I always sing. With it. I didn't know I was singing.
You went from El Pollinator to Curtis Mayfield on this real quick, didn't he, Captain Cage? You understand what I'm saying, man? So
y'all didn't catch that, did y'all? Because I thought I had it on mute once you started it.
Hey, I
did mute you. I muted you at the little bit, but I'll let you go.
I'm glad we did because I was like, yo, who's this young whippersnapper? Hold on, this
snap! I thought I had my damn mic on.
Okay,
I thought it automatically goes on mute when y'all play the videos, though. Damn.
Oh no, I don't.
I better be glad I wasn't singing like some drunk on the corner doing a doo-wop.
Hey, look, it was good. It's proof. You understand what I'm saying? The booth can only do so much. You had that natural ability, man. So I just wanted to give you some love for using your talents and gifts that the Most High bless you with in this manner. You see what I'm saying? We know you as the tactician. We know you as the strategist. But I know that you understand what I'm saying. You you had the folks out there like the brother on the 5 Heartbeats. You understand? The sisters was texting
Oh
me like, "Who
no,
is that?"
man! Oh man,
They
come
said,
on, man!
they said, "Is that you, brother Knowledge?" I was like, "No, no, no." You know what I'm saying?
Oh
That's
no, man!
L Pollinator. Okay, he got
Oh
it.
man, I didn't even know y'all was recording. I was singing. I
Uh,
always sing when it comes on. Like if I listen to it, I always sing with it. So I just do it naturally. I didn't know y'all was recording. Or had me live, man.
That's it, ladies
Y'all be
and
getting me,
gentlemen.
man. Y'all,
Jackson Heights own Mr. L Pollinator. You
boy, y'all
understand what I'm
wild as hell,
saying?
boy.
Hey,
Y'all wild as hell. Y'all hella wild.
hey,
Yes, sir.
you know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
Pretty pollinated, what they call them. You understand what I'm
No,
saying? Look,
man.
look. I'm telling you, look. All right. So
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
I'm
Yes,
definitely
sir.
honored, to be in the company of those multi-talented and multifaceted. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, definitely. I got my chance to collaborate with the people, and I think that's a very great series. I put series on like that here on Do Knowledge Radio myself, but somebody pull you in like, oh nah, we want to talk to you. You know what word? Okay, all right. So I
Brother,
think
you
it
put
was
in a lot
very
of work, man. You put in a lot of sweat equity. You put in a lot of research. You deserve to present your project and your product to the masses, and the masses need to get on board and purchase this history lesson because a lot of the history is being, as we know, taken out of the school. So I applaud you for just taking the time to invest in our people and telling the real the facts, the history, because you're a historian in all facets. And we just appreciate your knowledge. You got the right name, knowledge born. It's
hey,
born
brother.
from out of you, man, and that's the gifting that the Most High gave you, and we appreciate all the things that you're bringing to the table as well. And hey, I'm gonna give it back to you, man. How you be though, man? Like Captain Uncage says, what's been
Good.
going on besides whatever else.
Look, man, I need to take that song and you on the road. I'm just say that real quick on the side note. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's an ability to be able to you know give the people what they need from a entertainment sort of level, but then at a practical level. You understand? Like people, they don't have the frame of reference that we have. They can't go back to 1932 with the syphilis, what they call study. They can't have the audacity to fix their lips. So from 1932 to 1972,
Mm-hmm.
1932 to 1972, this is happening, right? The
Mm-hmm.
Tuskegee experiment that's happening in the hospitals and the highways and the byways is happening on one level,
Mm-hmm.
but the Tuskegee Airmen is happening on another level
Mm.
simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
At the
Understand?
same time.
So,
Yeah.
so the same men that you could experiment on is the
Mm.
same men you could put in a uniform to experiment on. Understand what I'm
Mm.
saying? So I just wanted to kind of make that clear while we was in this vein, because I know we're gonna get to it, but while we in this vein, to be mindful that this warfare happens on every level. That it happens on every level, and it might look subtle.
Right.
You might think that you got bad blood. Somebody done told you all of a sudden the blood that you didn't had your whole life and all through your ancestry, that's damn near older than the sun, moon, and stars. You got bad blood all of a sudden. You
Bruh,
see what I'm
you
saying?
know
So
what? You said something that I haven't heard in a while. Bad blood.
Bad blood. I hear. Woo.
yeah,
Damn.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
That's what they
and
used to
then
call it down in the southern parts where they were contracting that thing at a massive rate. But
right,
go ahead. I just want to acknowledge that you brought a name that's what we need to start calling it, because that seems like it has a much more hard hitting effect.
yes,
Just call it what it is. No, it's called bad blood in the black community. Damn it.
right,
Mm.
right, right. So now, if these things can be passed down from generation to generation. You understand? So now we got to be
Mhm.
mindful in regards to what this is. So I just want to kind of frame that in that space. Like I know we got historian, but I'm a future historian now. You know what I'm saying? Based off of what we're doing, you see what I'm saying? We're working for our future. And if
Mhm.
we work towards our future, we correct our past. So whatever it was in the past in the present can be corrected if we laudable efforts are targeted towards our future. So I'm a future story now. You understand what I'm saying? Few story in that. You understand what I'm saying? New story and few story, and however y'all want to style it. You know what I'm saying? But we're working towards our future. You know, the
No
power of
doubt.
words and words being spells and spells being binding and all those things. We are building towards our righteous black future. That's our mandate. Understand what I'm saying? That's our mandate. So we're attacking it on all fronts because we're being attacked on all fronts. So I just wanted to kind of set the tone in that way, in that regard. And thank you, brother Captain Uncaged and Doc Empress for that opportunity. You know what I'm saying? So y'all getting the benefit of me coming off of the track. You understand what I'm saying? Running that victory lap out here, instead of saying versus the victory lap. So yeah, I'm good. All is well, and you know, we rocking out. I'm ready to get into the
But we gotta ask Captain and Cage, how you feeling on a scale of 1 to 10, and how you be and how you been doing, bro?
Right.
Oh yeah. You know, I'm Blacknificent. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, just touch base really quick. We just came off of our meet the author with brother Knowledge Born Allah. You know, author, publisher, news historian, and scholar. You know what I'm saying? Extraordinaire for this day and age, for our era. And so, you know, just did a little meet and greet and a little presentation, a brief presentation, you know, based on this phenomenal ebook series that he has produced and is currently available to the populace, to the masses. And that is the Voices of the Diaspora ebook series. All right, 13 book volume series in total, and you know, just tremendous amount of information, you know, as it pertains to just education, upliftment, empowerment, elevation, you know, in full. So you know, it crosses different bounds and spans, you know, a few different boundaries. All right, of information, and so you know, we just was happy to be able to bring that forward, to be able to bring that to the people, and you know, to offer this special promo package that we have, regularly priced for $150. We have it for the low price of $99. All right, for this collaboration with MWM for Women's History Month. All right, we started off at the end of February in Black History Month and continued it on into now presently Women's History Month. All right, so definitely get that information. With that being said, let me just give y'all one more. Let me give y'all a preview because we ain't gonna stop there.
All right.
Massive. I don't see any cons. Mass exodus, if you look at it with the reality that all of us will now go. We left Africa hundreds of years ago. And because of the brutality of slavery, we were forced to leave Africa mentally. See, we got to first mentally get back to being Africans again, then spiritually get back to being Africans again, then we can physically become Africans without any problem.
If Exodus the answer, tell me where we about to travel to. Tell me where. Do you got a passport to leave from off your avenue? Most of us ain't left from out the city we was born in. Imagine moving to another continent where everything is foreign to you. Might be your native tongue, but you don't know it, do you? Lost in this world with no tradition till they show them to you. Watch history get repeated, man. If we don't maneuver, gotta make a choice for the babies later. Rather.
I gotta stop it there. Yeah, I'm not sure how much we can play.
Massive. I don't see any.
I'm not sure how much we can play with you know, YouTube and everything like that there. I just want to give y'all a little briefing, a little preview to a little bit of intro to the ebook series, family. This is one of the premier books. This is one of the 4 standalone books, all right, to the ebook series. This is Secure the Legacy, Black Family Tactical Preparedness for Urban and Rural Survival. Now, this might be one of the most important volumes presently at this time. You know, as was mentioned previously, we have an present war that has been launched several days ago from the United States in conjunction with Israel, all right, against Iran. And we're going to from that some repercussions from this military engagement, family. And so we've brought some of this information to you previously as far as emergency and disaster preparedness is concerned. But now the writing is on the wall, family. And so once again, we're able to provide some pertinent information as it pertains to emergency and disaster preparedness. All right, so this is one of the volumes in the ebook series, family. So this is very timely right now, and we want to continue to make sure that we are prepared as possible. The best time to prepare was yesterday. The next best time to prepare is right now. All right, family. And so just to give you a little brief, and this is some of the illustrations that you will find. There is these audio tracks that accompany each volume. All right, so you can play the audio tracks by themselves. You can utilize the volumes without the audio tracks, and be able to disseminate the information as you will. Okay, very interactive. You can actually hear as the pages turn to simulate
the pros and cons.
as much
I don't
of
see
the
any
realism of an actual book as possible. All right. This is some of the information that you will find in the inside of this volume. All right, broken down into the different chapters. All right, as you can see, very colorful, very vibrant, very interactive, family, and very much installed with a plethora of pertinent information. All right, as it pertains to survival, dealing with different aspects of first aid, bug out bags, and things of that nature, family. All right, so I don't want to spoil it all, but here you have it. All right, 10 chapters within this volume. Building Black preparedness networks, emergency food and water independence, health, hygiene, and emergency medical response, tactical training and guerrilla strategies, intelligence and recon, everyday carry and bug out bags, family battle drills. All right, fire and steel, 2 chapters, fire and steel, fortify the house, and foundations of preparedness. All right, this is just one.
The pros and cons,
in that phenomenal series, family. So just wanted to give y'all another little snippet, little preview of what is in store. All right, so I didn't want to stop there at the syphilis tsunami. I wanted to be able to intro some of this phenomenal ebook series as well, with voices of the diaspora. All right, 13 volume series. And again, special promo package price of $99. We're collaborating, myself, Sister Empress, along with Brother Knowledge Born, and being able to provide that information for you at the discounted price for the rest of this month, $99. Usually retails for $150. All right, family. So contact, with that special promo price, you can hit me at powerman2282 at gmail.com. Again, that's powerman2282 at gmail.com.
I just want to encourage the EtheReal Journey audience to support the EtheReal Journey's other projects. Like Brother Lumumba has a great project, Meiotic Men. I think he's going to bring it back soon. The mighty, how do you say it, Brother Lumumba? I don't want to butcher it up.
Yes, sir. That's the Mighty Meiotic Men of Valor Action Network.
Right.
Yes, sir.
That's what we need. We do other things besides coming on here and with the gift of gab. We got other things that we're doing, and of course, the historic and architect of the Million Woman March, Sister Filet, got a lot of projects that we would love for a lot of our people to get engaged in, to start supporting, because you see where we at right now. We at war. And we're not saying we got all the answers, but we got some pretty good plans of action that we can help people to navigate and negotiate what's coming down this pipe, which is not even coming down the pipe. It's here, like Captain Cage was saying.
At our front door.
And we're the ones that want to help you, navigate these troubled waters. So we just want to encourage y'all to support the EtheReal Journalists and all the things that we do outside of what we're doing on this podcast. And when we put this bad boy on the road, We're going to bring all these elements together like the X-Men. And you're going to be trying to figure out, whoa, what's going on? We got the Mighty Men. We got the historic Million Woman March. We got the voices of the diaspora. We got the public health stuff dealing with what do I do. So we got a lot of different things that we're bringing to the table, not just what we're coming here to just talk to you all about some great things that we bring to the EtheReal Journey podcast. With that being said, I yield back to you, Cap.
All right, yes indeed, yes indeed. You want to add in or tap in on that, any of that, Brother Knowledge Born, before we jump into some of the proceedings this evening?
No, I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right, family. So we charged up. You ready to rock? You ready to roll? Okay. So with that being said, let me just pull up, our topics for this evening, and thank you once again for joining us for the EtheReal Journey podcast. All right. So we're going to start off first and foremost, as we usually do. We're dealing with universal Black history and Black facts. All right. So let me jump off there. No, actually, we're gonna follow with we on Black facts. All right. Let me start off here. Let me go ahead and share the screen here. Matter of fact, before I go to that, let me come to you all real quick for any questions or comments. Let me check the chat. Family. Thank you for joining us once again. All right. Put that in the chat, Ellen Pollinator. All right, cool. All right. So any questions or comments, put it in the chat. And I'll be able to. Okay, we got Sister Empress in the building. Let me bring her to the forefront. Excellent. Okay, you might have lost Brother Pollinator. Oh, hopefully he's able to pop back on shortly. All right, Sister Empress, how you be? How you been? Checking in. You on mute right now currently. You got to unmute yourself.
Okay, there we go. Yep. All right. Greetings, family. Greetings. Glad to be here. Was in transit, so I'm just getting in, but I'm here now.
All right. Excellent. All right. So, how you doing? How you making out this evening? How's everything on your neck of the woods?
It's all good. It's not as cold as it was, but it is rainy and kind of chilly. But, other than that, we listen, to continue to do the work that we're doing, that's going to always supersede anything else or any other kind of negativities or what have you. So it's all good.
All right. Yes, indeed. Excellent.
The queen is in the building. Or in the ship. Yeah. She done made it to the mothership.
Beamed on board the EtheReal. All right, excellent. All right, and let me just see if there's any questions or comments. Go ahead and put it in the chat, family. And we'll answer that as we go. All right, any questions or comments? If it's not, then I'll just get ready to rock on.
Yeah, I just checked the Facebook page. That's why I had to come out the room for a quickie. There wasn't nothing on there as of now, but like I said, they're engaged, and hopefully, I haven't checked YouTube as well. I don't know if anybody wants to go on and see if anybody's asked any questions on the tube.
Right. I'll jump on there in a second as well. Okay, got to get all my devices together. All right. With that being said, well, let's jump into this while I'm doing that, and get a little glimpse of what it is that we're dealing with presently, family. All right, let's jump into it. Let me go ahead and hit here, and then let me get ready to share my screen. All right, hold on to your seats. All right, you about to go on the warp drive, family. On the EtheReal. Uh-oh. Okay. Oh, got it. I got it. There it is. Let me share my screen, family. Let me share my screen. Here we go. Let me cue that up. Share screen. Boom. All right. That's it right there. All right, let's rock.
Watch this video, and I'll be right back.
Let me bring it back.
Yeah, I remember that. I even made a video, and I'm going to repost it again.
Let me see. Let's go back to last year when there was a call to unalive Black women. There was a growing trend then. All right. So just a little bit of context. That's what's in the caption here. All right. Let me let it rock.
Watch this video, and I'll be right back. So I was just tagged in a video of a Christian Black man talking about how to deal with Black women. This will not be easy to hear.
Earlier to someone else, but I do want to stress this. There's nothing you can do outside of killing the Black women we have right now that will make any significant change in our society. Once we see the root of evil, which is the Black woman, we have to cut her out. You can't chastise her. You can't punish her. You can't discuss anything with her because she's made it blatantly clear that she does not care about you or your well-being or what's best for you. She does not care about the rightness or the wrongness of anything. She just wants to win. She just wants what she wants. If the system isn't going to change, and it's not. If the female isn't going to change, and she's not, who needs to change? Us. We do. We tried everything. The only thing we haven't tried is violence. And we know that will actually succeed. Historically speaking, it's always been the case. When you read the Bible, what does it tell you to do? Kill all the women. Take the younger females as your wives. That's how you rid the world of evil. That's how you control a population to the point where much of the evil within our population won't be passed down to the next generation. That evil doesn't pass from the father to the child. It passes from the mother to the child. And unfortunately,
I'm not going to play the rest of that bullshit. It's 9 minutes long. But this guy, people should check on him. The fact that you're out here saying that you need to unalive Black women because the Bible told you so? This is why I'm so confused with Black people subscribing to that bullshit. And Black men wonder why Black women are divesting faster than they have ever divested from Black men. We so fucking damn evil, but you motherfuckers haven't saved us from oppression yet. But we need to follow your lead. Regardless if you're a good leader or not. Regardless if you lead us into the motherfucking mouths of hell. We have to follow you. And when we don't, you want to unalive us. But you came from us. You came from a Black woman. Without us, there would be no you. I'm so sick and tired of Black men coming on this fucking internet to talk shit. Yet they won't take that fucking energy to the white man that has been oppressing us for 400 fucking years. Man, fuck all y'all that think like that. Fuck all y'all. Your mama should have swallowed.
Damn.
I'm so mad I could punch something. Fuck anybody that thinks like that. A creator named Eddie Brock found out what group that dude was part of. They're called the IBMOR, Introspective Black Men of Reform. Their goal is to get rid of white supremacy and Black matriarchy in the community. That doesn't even make any fucking sense. And here are some of their bullshit tenets. We believe in cishet Black men leadership. We understand that women are only here for schmecks and reproduction. Females should never be given authority in society over men in any way. Men should never cater to women in any way. Number 2 is they're going to secure land, declare a nation, and build technology advanced military to defend that nation. What the fuck? Number 5 over here. We know that the illusion of submission is the best that a woman can offer a man under this genocentric system of white supremacy. A woman is only truly submissive when society doesn't give her a choice. They're also homophobic. Tenet number 6 says that the LGBTQIA plus community represents the death of a people because no children are produced out of such unions. Like, we have no other way of producing children. You have to be with in a straight relationship. These guys are fucking nuts. There's more. This video is just going to be too long if I try to go through all of them. When I first heard that recording, it was 9 minutes long. I was very upset. I've never heard anything like that. I never heard a black man talk about black women like that, to the point like you want to unalive us. That was really weird for me, and it made me very sad and like pissed. Like, bitch, y'all come from us. But now that we're in our resting era, they could do whatever the fuck they want to do. But if you come to me though, you gonna get that click, click, boom. Promise you that. But other than that, they can go do what they want to do. We tired over here. We resting. I'm drinking my water, sipping my tea, feeling the sun rays on my skin, taking my time.
Let me stop the screen share there, family. Let me stop the screen share there. Wow. This hits on many different levels, and disturbing on many different levels, right? And so, you know, if you want to look at this in its full dynamics and break it all the way down, family, break it down to the common denominator, you know, break it down to the elemental parts, right? And so when I looked at this video, I was shocked. I was astounded. You know, first I'm looking at it. I said, you know, wow, you know, what are these? First of all, woo, so many levels, family. The generalization, right? Now she did say, you know, these black men, you know, these men, but there was also some general statements that she made also, you know, when she was saying, you know, F all of y'all. She prefaced it with these people, then she doubled down though and said F all of y'all, right? And so I just wanted to point that fact out there. And you know, that definitely needs to be acknowledged. That needs to be exposed, and you know, those individuals need to be dealt with. But it rings in the alarms for some of the things that has been happening to our communities. All right, and the further evidence of the colonization of our minds and of our spirits, and these manifesting into physical type of adherences, okay, and you know, delving into or digging into our psychological makeups and developing different psychoses. All right, so you know, you want to look at these things, family. I saw an attack on the black woman and femininity, right? Then I also saw an attack on the black family, right? I saw an attack on the unification of black men and black women, right? So, you know, you can touch base on that as it pertains to a subject matter that, or a topic that I developed, you know, as far as coin with bluff, all right, standing for Black Love Under Fire. So you want to look at those elements there. We also saw the you know, because I was kind of in flow with the sister until she started bringing up other things that also were in contrary to our evolution, right? And contrary to our continual progress positively and progressively, right? You know, to continue to move forward. So I saw the pushback on the fact of, you know, homosexual relations or the development of that culture. I see a pushback on that, as if she wanted to promote that as if it was beneficial to our people, to our culture, and as if it was in tandem with the Most High, with Creator, and with natural law, right? So, you know, just to touch base on that. And you know, ultimately, you know, it looked like there was a, you know, greater aspects of division, and you know, just the destabilization of our communities at the end, right? I didn't see any type of resolution that was being offered or presented. With that being said, let me open up the floors to the ethereal journalists, and let's get some feedbacks and some takeaways. You know, how did you all receive this information, this video? Let me come first and foremost to Sister Empress.
Oh boy. Okay. So, I mean, it was so much stuff going on in that video, in that clip, and what was the obvious, of course, is the fact that you literally have black males groups, and notice I said black males, I didn't say black men. You have black males groups or entities that really believe this stuff and are really attempting to do it. Now, here's the thing that people might not want to connect, because I think the female said that this was a Christian group. Well, let me say, in case you don't know, that's also some other religious kinds of tendencies or tenets. They might not say it like that, but that is what the sentiments are, that women are really breeders. Their function is really just to have some children. That's the primary. And so within certain other so-called religious or other, types of institutions or whatever, that idea also exists. Again, it might not be externally verbalized like that Negro did, but still, that is the mentality to some degree that is, it's there. It's there. And we'll get more into that in another time. But again, the thing I want to also note is how, and we talk about this often on various platforms, New Day, and of course, Know the Knowledge. So one thing that you have to pay attention to is how people construct certain things that they're saying. Now, I'm not sure that she actually deliberately did it, but sometimes it can be done without you deliberately doing it. It's just a psychological thing that now people kind of do. And what I'm referring to is how you take one thing, meaning it's factual, it's meaningful, it's valid, etc., and then you mix it in with some other stuff, right? And see, America's good for that. Y'all know that, because that's what they did with that whole Constitution thing. All men are created equal, but then it didn't say, but not y'all. Anyway, so they're good for mixing in, some truth with some other stuff. So for me, the female there kind of did that. Again, whether she was aware of it or not, it was still there. And what I'm saying is the information and the reality, etc., of what she started off with. But then, as Brother Moonbird mentioned, she kind of went into another direction. And see, this is what people are now doing with our movements. They'll talk about reparations or justice or whatever, and then you start seeing the hidden agendas or the other agendas of what they're really trying to also push within the context of what our ancestors was talking about. Our ancestors never talked about fighting for LBGUKQRSTUV. That was never a part of freedom. You didn't hear nobody talk about that. And I'm not saying, listen, if that's what you want to do, fine, go do that, right? I'm not, but don't mix that in with our struggle. So this is what we kind of saw in that clip. We saw some actual things that are of concern and that are real, right? But then we also saw that little sidebar and so maybe there's other ways to procreate or to have children. What do you anyway? Y'all get the gist of what I'm saying. So that's my spin on it. And again, it is a concern. Brothers definitely need to speak out because that mentality does exist. The patriarchal thing now is off the hook. And again, Black men need to step up, stand up, speak out about that, as well as the nonsense we're seeing in the music, so-called entertainment industry. Black men got to start speaking out about that. And believe me, sisters, we gearing up. Because I was on a podcast the other evening, and someone said to me, well, when you work on now doing Million Women March 30, are you going to reach out to Nicki Minaj and Cardi B's and all that? And I didn't even, give that a response like that. I said, what we're getting ready to do is to crown an official Million Women March Universal Queen, and she will represent honor and dignity and naturalness, and she will have her own court of other sister queens and so forth. I said, so if any of that matches, then yeah, but if not, then you have your answer. I yield.
I say. All right, thank you for that. This is Sister Empress. All right, let me come over to Brother Pollinator. What say you?
Man, you know what? I'm gonna pass the mic to Brother KBA because I know he got something to say.
I want him to come on last. I want him to come on last. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna hit it real quick, and we could probably just continue on the discussion as we hit these points. Today is Purim. Purim is a day in which the ancient Hebrews, the real ones, the melanated, carbonated black men and women, celebrate their emancipation from getting wiped out by King Xerxes, who was the king of the Persian Empire. All these were blacks, by the way, not what you see in some of these movies in Hollywood. But today is Purim. Queen Esther was a beautiful black queen. And she was the one that helped save the whole nation when like 100 and some provinces were getting ready to start slaughtering them. At sundown today was the final part. It started last night at sundown and it ended today at sundown. So I celebrate Purim because that's part of my ancestry of bloodlines. But I say all that to say, as well as with the lunar eclipse, things are happening and people are acting real weird. And what I saw in that video was pure weirdness. The brother talking what he was talking, and then the sister, she started off okay. And then she started going into her own little indoctrinations. Okay. When she started talking about the LGBTQI stuff, that sort of touches me because my song is about how bisexual black men have betrayed our black women because they're having unprotected anonymous sex with guys and not telling their women and giving them the right to know, the right to exist, and making them vulnerable to their illicit sexual behavior, their irresponsible sexual behavior. So for her to incorporate that, that's why I'm gonna hit it from that point, the LGBTQIA to the Z, like Sister Chi said, it's sad, but it's where we at today as a people. And I think this is a great bluff topic as well. And, Black Love Under Fire, even though there wasn't no love being shown in that, and none of that right there. It was all hate. It was all patriarchal on his end, and on her end, she wants to incorporate and homogenize all this other nonsense into the mix. So in my eyes, if these are the conversations we're having today, boy, I tell you, I can't wait to get to the fifth dimension and cast all these dogs into the lake, off all of their heads, for real, because they ain't gonna make the transition. They ain't gonna make the reset because they're too stuck on this earthly realm and the emotional part of what we as a people always attach ourselves to versus having the willpower and the intellect to overcome the emotions. See, a lot of times in these little videos, these women put their emotions on the front end when emotions should be on the back end. Your will, your intellect, then your emotions. But some of these women and men, they're putting their emotions in the front of the line. And when we act from an emotional state of being, that's why we get these type of situations and these conflicts. And it creates these divisions amongst our own Black love, our own people. So that's what I got to say for that for right now. I just wanted to interject that part. And I don't mind talking about people who are indoctrinated in religion, but these dudes, they are totally out of context. They've taken certain parts of the scripture and didn't look at the full context of everything. If you're going to look at something that was written by our people, for our people as a guide. But a lot of things that were written, people are actually thinking that that's the only way you need to go as opposed to going with the divine universal laws that supersede anything that was written. Just having a good heart, just having do unto others as you want to do unto yourself type of, mentality when it comes to dealing with your family, your friends, your community. And we've lost that because we've gotten so indoctrinated in these books. And a lot of these books were, like we said, they were revised, they were, tampered with, but they were also, they kept some of the main things, the main principles that we as a people should have gained knowledge from so that we can treat each other with love, as opposed to treating each other with kill all the black women like this dude was trying to say. And that the black women is the main problem within our community. That's sad, man. And that's really sad. And if Christian churches or black churches that are doing these things, you know, they're not promoting self-determination or collective unity amongst our people. They're promoting division. So I say off with their heads, and if they don't repent and make atonement, straight to the damn lake. I yield.
All right, yes, sir. Thank you for that addition, Brother Pollinator. And let me come over to last but not least, Knowledge Born Allah. What say you, Brother Knowledge? Brother Knowledge, you still with us? Okay, I see the mic is open, but I'm not hearing anything.
Brother KBA, what you got to say? You might be having some interference.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. I wanted him to dig in.
He'll be black. He'll be black.
All right, family. So, yes. You know, this is very interesting, family. We had to look at the narrative that is being spun, right, and how media manipulation comes into play. Okay, and you know, looking at folks' intent as far as you know delivering certain information, right, and so you know, as Brother Pollinator was saying, some you know information was entered in, was shared that was of truth, that had some substance, but then there was you know a Trojan horse of kind of personal perspectives, and you know adding into you know certain agendas that were being pushed forward simultaneously. Okay, so the left hand you know didn't get to see what the right hand was doing, right? So we have to be mindful of the information that we are intaking, and you know seeing the whole scope, seeing the information in its totality. All right, because there is some psychological games and psychological warfare that is being played, family, and it's happening all across the board through mainstream media, and you know when you look at a lot of these different influencers, when you look at ultimately what is their agenda. Okay, so we see things that were coupled along with the information that she was delivering, as far as pertaining to you know this guy, and you know the things that he was espousing. So you know that was relevant, but the other information was kind of ushered in along with it. And if you're not really you know paying attention, or you know once you get into a certain modality where you're in agreement, which is what some of this elicits, you know, then you kind of take it all on, maybe subconsciously, not even realizing that these other subject matters have been added on to really infiltrate your mind, as if all of these things are on the same line, right, on the same stream. And you know, because one is true, then a lot of times psychologically we believe other things accompanied with that to be true as well. So these are some of the psychological games that are played, that are being played, family, that we have to be mindful of as it pertains to the dissemination and the consumption of information. Okay, so you know, just be mindful, family. Be careful of what you are intaking, what you are ingesting, what you are consuming. Okay, as far as the bluff situation, Black Love Under Fire, you know, we're looking at the further division of Black men and women, which has been propagated more often across social media, right? So we have the kind of Black feminist movement that has sprung up and that has arisen. There's a lot of shuffling in the background. I gotta put that on mute. Okay, a lot of A lot of that information has been proliferated recently. Okay, and so we have to be mindful of that. What is the agenda there? What is the point and the purpose there? Um, ultimately it is going to lead to the destruction of our people. If the men are saying, F the women, and the women are saying F the men, then ultimately what we're saying is we're no longer, creating children. We're no longer creating families. We're no longer creating stable environments to raise our children and to build with community and to rebuild our nations. Okay, so these are the things we have to be careful of, falling for the okie doke, the old banana in the tailpipe, being hoodwinked, bamboozled, and led astray. Okay, so this, alpha movement and mentality, that's off base and off kilter, that's extreme, right? And the feminist aspect that is also in the same realm, right? A lot of overcompensations and things of that nature that's happening, that is occurring. All right, and because it's leaning so hard towards one extreme, then this causes the imbalances that you're seeing, right, all across the board, and it's just creating further fissures and divisions within our people. And so ultimately that plays into the hands of the enemy, because that has what has been orchestrated from the beginning. These are the things that have been set into motion from the onslaught, right? Dealing with. Oh, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for that video yet, good brother. Give me 1 second. I got a couple more things that I'm gonna pop into the fray, because I got some additions. I'm gonna throw a couple audibles this evening that I want to deliver. All right, but I want to get your
Well, I didn't
commentary.
get a chance to add on. I'm,
Yeah, well,
I'm
I wanted you
using
to add
this.
on. I
I'm
wanted you to add
using
on
this
first.
video to add on. So
No,
I'm just putting.
I want to come to that video quite yet, because I got a couple other pieces that I want to add on to the pie before we come to Dr. Bobby with the solution. But I just wanted to get that, your perspective on that clip right there. I got a couple goodies for y'all. It's gonna add into that whole scheme of things, right? But if I could get your commentary on what we've seen thus far.
Yeah, that's part of my commentary. I'm
All right,
playing that
so
clip
all right,
to leave my answer. We can go back to however you want to do what you got to do, but it's a part of my answer.
okay, all right. I'm gonna hold tight on that real quick. Then I'm gonna hold tight, because I want everything. It's going to make sense. I'm gonna bring this other information into the full family, because this type of psychological warfare is happening all across the board, right? And so again, especially when you're looking at some of the recent kind of stances and quote unquote influencers that have taken space and taken shape on social media. And so, I would argue that, these individuals might have been incentivized, because I find it just very strange that these are the type of um, archetypes, mainstreams that have been pushed kind of to the forefront, right? And so, I don't think these things are happening arbitrarily, and I don't think they're happening accidentally. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up another video clip of some, kind of similar stances that are being taken, as far as it pertains to the way media is being framed, right? And the way these, quote unquote, social influencers are presenting certain information, and the way that they're doing it, and the way it's being dictated, the way it's being presented, and the way it's being produced. So let me come to another clip real quick, and whew, very interesting, family, very interesting, to say the least. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen. Give me 1 second, family. Oops, hold on 1 second. Let me share my screen. And this is continuing in that same vein. All right, the type of information that we are receiving, and the type of kind of uh, lack of journalistic integrity, right, and follow up research and so forth. All right, so this is a clip. I'm only going to play a little bit of this, but I just want you to check out again the narrative and how it's spun, right? And it's supposed this clip is supposedly on Al Sharpton, right? And the stance against him being an agent, so on and so forth. But watch how this other information family is entered into the atmosphere. Let me let it rock.
For you. We're going to start off with Al Sharpton. Yeah, the fake ass civil rights leader who always come out when the elites have some type of racial profiling case.
Hello guys, this is Chinese Black with another video, and this video is about Al Sharpton, okay, who only comes out when they are pulling off black psyops, okay, psychological operations, okay. He came out with the George Floyd psyop, Breonna Taylor psyop, Breonna Greer psyop, Hunter Britton psyop, and Ahmaud Arbery psyop. And I am going to show you all of them. Well, you know about Al Sharpton and George Floyd, who I did a video on both of those characters. Now, before I dive into this video, allow me to read a little bit of information. Damn it. Okay, the double-headed eagle first appeared in Freemasonry in 1758. It was adopted by the Council of Emperors of East and West Paris to represent the fact that they were a double jurisdiction, okay? As the name of the council would suggest, one of the heads of the eagle was inclined to the east and the other to the west, okay? So, let's see. I'm gonna click on that photo to see if I can make it bigger, okay?
Let me go ahead and stop right there real quick, fellas. Let me stop right there. All right. So what we're seeing in more recent times, family, is folks that are coming to the forefront with different information. They're mixing and mashing things together. They're bringing some information that is correct or sounded. Then they're bringing other information that they're just throwing into the mix based on their ideology and indoctrination, right? And so you're talking about one hand, speaking of psyops, this presentation in itself is a psyop, right? Because you're utilizing this information in order to validate your statements, but the information that you're providing really isn't thoroughly researched. You're not bringing any source information. You're doing a whole lot of internet scholarship, right? And this is what's happening across the board in a lot of the spaces as it comes to these different social media influencers, right? So you want to poke at that and pull at that to see, what is unveiled. And so she goes further into talking about how all these things are psyops, how, it's a strategy to, try to put something in the ether as far as, to do with aspects of, quote unquote, white supremacy, off white supremacy. And, to say that it's really a division for us, not to be collective as far as, with the Europeans and some of their perspectives, right? And, defaming, people such as Al Sharpton, but to say that these incidences that are happening is not based on racial profiling and things like, as if these things don't exist, and these things are being manufactured by individuals like Al Sharpton in order to push an agenda for the Democratic Party, so on and so forth, right? These are some of the things that are being claimed, right? And so again, information that is being presented with, okay, because we know there's actual factual information on Al Sharpton being a government agent, right, and testifying, giving testimony, so on and so forth. Being introduced into certain groups and organizations, doing aspects of infiltrations, and acts of treason. So we know these things to be true, but to then couple that with individuals, being unalived by the police, Ahmaud Arbery, talking about that's a psyop, as if he wasn't eliminated, he wasn't executed, as if these things didn't happen, as if this is just something that was invented or made up to further that narrative as far as racial profiling and discrimination and police brutality, as if these things don't exist. So we have Black folks that are taking on some of the conservatives' perspectives and ideologies, and in my opinion, it is for profit. These people are being incentivized, and they're intentionally leading people astray because they know it tugs on people emotionally, and they are able to make a profit based on it. All right, let me bring one more to example, and then I'm gonna come to Brother Knowledge Born, so we can bring some of the solutions, possible solutions to some of these issues. All right. All right, so let me bring this last.
Can y'all hear me?
Oh, we can hear you now, brother. We can hear you now. We couldn't hear you before.
I don't know. I can't hear you hardly. It's like really low. So I may have to go out and come back in. Maybe it's something on my end. So I'm gonna go out back and come back in, and hopefully I get the audio, because the audio sounds low on my end. Just letting you guys know, okay?
Okay.
The EtheReal journalists know what's going on.
I don't know if it sounds low on anyone else's end.
It sounds low on my end, but you can hear me loud and clear, though, I think.
Check. How about now?
Okay. Well, I'm gonna come out and then come back in. Hopefully my audio will be better. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Cool. Anybody else with the audio? How's my audio?
No, I hear everybody loud and clear.
Oh, okay. All right. I just wanted to double check on that. Okay. All right. Excellent. Okay. All right. Let me go ahead and share my screen one more time, family. Let me get to this next clip, and then we're going to come to Brother Knowledge. Okay. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, and again, it's doing our folks a disservice, right, by mixing and matching information together and really causing greater amounts of confusion, and not putting the blame squarely where it belongs for the people who are the puppeteers, as far as it pertains to the type of oppression, degradation, dehumanization that we're seeing, that we're facing. All right, to take that responsibility and accountability off of them and put it on to us. Let me give you all one other example.
Get this.
Damn, twin tops. Come on, cuz.
Real J. They know what's going on, though. Come on, man. Come on. We just curious. We quill block. We got from 85th Mesquite all the way down to 85th Marquette. We won this both ways on my border, nigga. 89 really y'all shit. This bitch doing anything over 25, we find it up. We come our way, it's more than 150 coming. None with hiccups. I don't let my big brother nightmare though, you know that. You know that. Yeah, homie.
So you heard them up and down the block. Nobody could come through there. They got this shit on smash, this, that, and the third. All our artillery, all them big ass guns, whole lot of ammunition. And you want to know the sad thing about it? All of that shit is for somebody who looked just like them, somebody who looked just like me. All of that shit, everything he was saying, Is none of that shit intended for anybody else but somebody who look just like them. And it's fucked up. And yet we still blaming a white man. And the craziest shit is that they got that from us. Because my generation was the same way. Every time I put my gun on me and came outside, I never had nobody white intended in my mind to do something to, or somebody white was going to try to do something to me. And I was going to have to flame their ass up. Never. And I know when they come outside, everybody they talking about flaming somebody up that look just like them. But yet every day we keep saying the white man, we fucked up.
All right, let me stop my screen share there. Right? And again, moving the goalposts, not really, getting into where these things come from. How did these brothers get all of these guns? We don't have any gun manufacturing facilities, right? The brother talked about, or this guy talked about, him being responsible and his generation being responsible because he or individuals like himself is the one that's taught this type of, ideology, this type of indoctrination to our youth about, MDK, you know what I'm saying? About, picking up a weapon and firing against, your brethren, and them being the ops and the enemies. I didn't hear in one part of where he took on any of that responsibility and said, this is what I'm willing to do. He said, we blame it on the white man. He didn't say anything about a solution, what he's willing to do as far as being the problem in order to create a better culture, in order to institute better knowledge and information, education, and so forth, and then, it's our folks doing it to our folks. Okay, again, what did Ancestor El Malik teach us, or what was he saying in one of the speeches? Who taught you to hate yourself? Like, we just woke up one day and was like, oh yeah, I just want to kill all black people, and that's my enemy, so on and so forth. As if we weren't indoctrinated, as if we weren't put in situations of degradation, of oppression, right? As if we weren't brainwashed, as if we weren't put in institutions of manipulation, as if our families weren't destroyed, as if the fathers wasn't taken out of our home, as if the mothers wasn't, pushed on crack cocaine and prostitution and so on and so forth. Did we do that to ourselves? You know what I mean? So these are the things that we're seeing, family, that's coming to the forefront in present day as far as the different presenters, different quote unquote influencers, right? Who are placing all of the blame on black folks, on us, on each other, and no responsibility is, to be had by the powers that be, by, European power structures, by systematic, oppression and repression, right? And economical warfare, biological warfare, chemical warfare that has been waged against us, being captured, that's been waged against us for centuries to this day. Okay. And I didn't hear any one of those individuals provide any solutions. So they just talked about the problems and then stoked the fires and then let that run. So we can continue to battle one another and eliminate one another and ourselves. All right. With that being said, let me come over to Brother Knowledge Born Allah. All right. While you're getting this stuff together, let me come over to Sister Empress for any additional commentary.
Well, again, it comes down to we're reviewing these things as they unfold and have continued to unfold and will continue to unfold. And again, I think the difference with what we're saying and doing is that we are evaluating and reviewing and conversating about these things, but also preparing to make the necessary steps to not only address some of these issues, but to make certain that we're not still inflicted with it. I think that's very, very different from what a lot of what we're hearing and seeing. So I just want to bring that to everyone's attention that, yes, we are having these dialogues. Yes, we're doing these critiques and assessments, but best believe we're also working on dealing with doing the things that is necessary to, if not totally eradicate, at least put a dent in it. And again, this means a day-to-day kind of focus. Not just a conference, a summit, an event, a march, a rally. All of that is good. But these things have been done over the decades. And so with that said, we have to go to the next level. So again, you will hear us talk more about the actual programs, initiatives, and things of that nature that we're actually doing and or bringing into the forefront.
All right. Excellent. Absolutely. All right, still waiting for Brother Knowledge to make a reappearance. Let me come over to Brother Pollinator. Any other additions?
I'm gonna hit it quick. I'm gonna hit it real quick. I mean, all the videos that you strung together pretty much shows that we're declining into a serious problem of chaos and confusion, which is all part of, like, you said earlier about the interference piece. A lot of these things are orchestrated by, whatever puppet masters are Wizard of Oz is behind the curtains and things like that. And because we're so damn gullible and we're so daggone easy to manipulate, it makes it so easy for that kind of material and content to hit the airwaves and then also trigger that frequency in other people. And it's an ignorant frequency. It's not something that going to bring you to a greater understanding or understanding, overstanding, outerstanding of knowledge of self. It's going to just make you go to that root chakra level and stay on your emotions versus coming up and trying to be a rationally minded person that understands your intellect and how to siphon through or eat meat up and spit out the bones. A lot of the stuff that we're seeing in these videos is straight up bones. And people are, and they're eating a whole fish and they're choking on it because you got to damn pick the bones out and eat the meat so that you can get to some like solution, like you were saying. So in my humble opinion, we got to come out of Babylon, and all Babylon is confusion. It's chaos. It's everybody buying into a narrative or a propaganda that has been orchestrated intentionally for this kind of ignorant behind behavior, and we as the ethereal journalists have to continue to bring these type of topics to our ethereal journey audience, because we have to show and contrast and compare how we were when we were all collectively trying to fight one common enemy, if you want to say that, back in the 56, maybe even going back to the early 1900s or 1920s to the civil rights movements. We were more collectively engaged because we had intellectuals as well as grassroots people, as well as, other nations of people that were engaged with helping us. But now nobody helps us, but we're out stuck alone and we're caught up in the chaos and the ignorance at this stage of the game. So I say come out of Babylon, like Bob Marley used to say all the time. We in Babylon right now. We got to figure it all out. But that's what we're here to do as ethereal journalists. Can we get to some kind of solution to these issues and problems and stop operating from an emotional standpoint and that root chakra that mostly everybody operates from? And with that being said, I yield back.
All right. Yes, indeed. Thank you for that addition, Brother Pollinator. All right. Let me see if. Okay. All right. Brother Bourne, you got it. I can't hear your audio.
My student who was Fred Hampton used to ask me to interrupt my class all the time because we had these free classes and call it community university. And he used to have, one of my students who was Fred Hampton used to ask me to interrupt my class all the time because we had these free classes and call it community university. And he used to have, Why are we like we are? Why is history demanding too much of us? That was his famous say. Why are black folks like we are? Is history demanding? And I used to tell him, and I'm going back to that now because I've gotten too far from it. It's very simple. We are in a race war. And we're the only one who don't know it. Not only we the only one don't know it, we're the only one who don't even know what race we are. Seriously, don't laugh about it. We are in a race war, and we refuse to accept it. All the statistics Jenny gave you, why do blacks just happen to show up? Why do blacks just happen to show up like this I just gave you? It just happened that way. Every time you look up, everywhere you go all over the world, blacks on the bottom and whites on top, it just happens that way. Hell, if it would just happen by saying, look, it defies every known law of probability that exists. The laws of probability say that if it was not color, somewhere in this world, you'll find black folks over whites. Somewhere in this world. Use your own textbook. The law of probability. They tell you science is objective and neutral. Then apply it to the black condition and watch how it go haywire. Goes crazy. Apply that same scientific methodology that you're learning here to the black condition and explain it to me. No. Science is not objective and it's not neutral. The way you develop science, the two of us get together and say, look, this is gonna be white. Okay? This is gonna be black. And if you don't accept it, I'll kill you.
All right, Brother Knowledge, it's on you.
Mic check. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, we get you now. Yep.
All right. So, Dr. Bobby Eugene, right? Is that news to anybody that's on this panel? What he said?
No, sir.
Okay. So, propaganda and media manipulation that you perfectly illustrated, Captain Uncaged, is at an all-time high. An all-time high. So not only do we have the physical war of attrition, we got the emotional war, and we have the mental war, but we also have the spiritual war that El Pollinator was speaking about. There is an agenda with the gender war, with the mental side, with the emotional side, and with the spiritual side. There is a deliberate attempt to cut us off from our mother, the etheric umbilical cord, the physical umbilical cord, the emotional umbilical cord. We are tied to her. An attempt to make it appear that this connection is simple. So they do we hear people when they want to get deep, they'll be like cutting the cord ritual, right? So we'll hear somebody talk about cutting the cord, right? And then when our babies are born, they have us cut the cord. It's impossible to cut that cord, but they have you think in your mind that you're cutting that cord, you're severing a connection. And then they come out with the baby food to cut you off from your reconnection. So they'll have you sever this connection and then, tell you about suckling from the breast. Why am I saying this? If they cut you off from your mother's etherical cord, you're still going to want to suckle. So who is giving you suck now? Who are you interdependent upon? Who are you connecting to? And whoever you connect to, this is who you'll fight for. This is who you'll unalive people for. So now they have you suckling from the wolf's breast. The wolf, the beast, is giving you suck. So now, what you was talking about, Captain Uncaged, with the second video with the brother is pointing the finger back at us, but it makes it seem like he's saying something that sounds true. Simple Empress was talking about trick knowledge earlier. They will put these things together to make them appear as though they sound true because they have a couple of facts in there. So he was attempting to take responsibility, saying the generation we the generation before him, and we had these weapon systems for one another. So now he's condemning this generation instead of going to get involved with them. You see how that works? So now we become our own worst enemy type of situation. There are folks that espouse that, they'll push that around. And it's just not true. It's topically true. It appears true on the surface. Those weapon systems came from the cartel. That's how they ended in the neighborhood. They were dropped off by crates on military convoy from Texas to Chicago and some of these other cities. Got eyewitness accounts of those things happening, and also those things being airdropped. You know what kind of coordination a military convoy takes to go from Texas to Chicago, Illinois, to airdrop things out of the sky? So the mind frame in regards to this space that Dr. Bobby Eugene Wright, peace and blessings be upon him, was talking about is warfare in 1980, and he became a casualty of war in the same year. He became a casualty of war in the same year by the gatekeepers who were operating at the behest of the king and the queen that's out here running rampant to this day. So a man who stood up and recognized how this propaganda war is happening and showing you on a global level, wherever this dynamic exists, one was on the bottom and one was on the top. So if you're on the bottom for so long, you inherit that kind of mind frame and mind state in regards to being inferior. So these young people are against that, and they're fighting against that. And whomever is proposed to be their opposition, they got weapon systems from them all of a sudden. But they have vitriol in the heart for themselves, because if you kill another black man, woman, or child, you're only harming yourself. You're only harming yourself, and you're only setting into motion a vendetta with a blood tie that will continue to extend throughout the life of the generation from the ancestral realm to the material realm. So Dr. Bobby Eugene Wright was acquainting us with the state of which we exist in, and then gave some remedies for this affliction later on in this same video, The Man and His Mission. I know we're going to deal with that and universal black facts, and we're here with it. I just want to, approach it from a way that's there. So the vitriol that the sister espoused in the first video, I can't say it no better than Captain Uncaged. You understand what I'm saying? The way he broke it down, I'm good. But the disconnect that goes in between the two, both of the videos that runs congruent is their ability to mix lies with truth for sensationalism on the internet. To mix lies with truth, whether they did it deliberately or not. They thought in their mind what they were doing was righteous. William O'Neill thought the same thing. He thought he was doing something righteous. Understand what I'm saying? And if I said William O'Neill out loud, because Fred Hampton was one of the students of Dr. Bobby Eugene Wright that he talked about. And we saw his demise and his fall come from infiltration. When one thinks that the space of improper propaganda becomes a proper and only justification in regards to the elimination of the black family. And they continue to do it on every scale, large scale, wholesale. And as long as we...
brother KBA, I don't know if the audience knows who he is and what associations he was with. Maybe you want to break that down a little bit, because I know the video really didn't go into who he was, and a lot of people in general don't even know who Bobby C. Wright was. So if you could just tell them from I guess the organization or the association he was with that sort of undermined him, that might give him a little bit of understanding of who Bobby C. Wright was and what he was trying to accomplish with his psychological interjections into our community.
Well, he wrote the book, Psychopathic Racial Personality, and he was a black psychologist that worked in the city of Chicago that came from an all-black town and all-black county in Hobson County, Alabama. So he always said that was more important than any degree or anything that they tried to bestow upon him. So he was the interim president for the National Association of Black Psychologists before his unaliving. I guess I got to use that word. Before his martyrdom is a better word for me. I ain't using that. Before his martyrdom in 1980, he was targeted. He was heavily surveilled, and ultimately led to his demise at the hands of the turncoats and the black bourgeoisie that existed, who were comfortable with saying system of racism and white supremacy. Now you hear white supremacy on Fox News. He said that it wasn't no system. It was black folks against white folks. It was very plain about it from a ground level. So you went from being a tenured professor that was going around decolonizing the minds of young black people and young black students to one who was typecast and a predecessor for someone like Steve Coakley Sr., peace and blessings be upon him, if y'all not familiar with him. So in the space of truth-telling and in the space of winning the minds, it's a war for the minds, he said. A war for the minds. So we're dealing with mind warfare, and he popularized a term that is now being used called menticide, where there's a space of you attempting to unalive your mind, or there's an attempt to destroy your mind in that space. So we had homicidal, suicidal, and he spoke about menocidal, and the rates that were alarming in regards to a statistical perspective from the amount of young black people who were taking their lives in the year of 1980, and the amount of young black people that were incarcerated as well. So a lot of these stats were there, was something that was crazy in regards to what it was in 1980 versus what it is right now in 2026. So I just wanted to posit that in regards to the space that you operated from, Cameron Cage, about solution. But the propaganda war, the propaganda war lasts longer than any rifle shot. So if I have your mind in a space where I can control it through imagery and people that you respect or any of these things, then that'll be long-standing, epigenetically, and on all of the levels than any one shot that could ever happen. So the propaganda war is a long-standing war, and y'all know that that's one of my vantage points and one of the motivations and inclinations behind Voices of the Diaspora, the ebook series and the docu-series, to be able to present and document us in righteous states versus these inauthentic, contrived media spaces where mass manipulation is happening in a way that's detrimental. And I yield for that. Thank you for the time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for that addition, Brother Knowledge. All right, family. Let me see if there's any questions or comments from the EtheReal audience. All right. Any questions or comments, family?
So one thing that I want to add, and of course this lends to the conversation and the position in terms of the mind, and of course it brings me to mind with, of course, Stephen Biko. Right. And one of his famous quotes. But before I go into that or come back to that, I want to also, Brother Knowledge just brought a powerful piece, of course, with Dr. Bobby Wright and the whole analysis around it with menticide, etc. But see, now also based on that work, based on those teachings, and having the capability to grasp it, we now bring forward another portion of this, or add in some other kinds of things that gives us some other clarity or additional capability. And it is, of course, we talk about genocide, right? So we talked about menticide, homicide, and of course, genocide. And what MWM introduced in, or is introducing into these, I would say, concepts, is what we call matricide or matricide. And this is a legitimate and actual study, or shall we say, area of psychology and other areas of engagement in terms of science. And what it refers to is the I have to use unalive, the unaliving of mother, right? Matricide. Look it up. It's there. And it specifically focuses on the elimination / offing of the mother. And so to take this to a whole nother level as to why Black women are now really targeted after the crack cocaine epidemic. See, the reality is the system, our enemies never, wanted to see the Black man rise. I mean, that's more than evident. And so the women were allowed to at least kind of do a little something, not anything beyond a certain point, and certainly not to the degree that some people be talking about, oh yeah, the Black woman, she can get a job, she can do this. And all of that is a whole nother kind of distraction. And I'm not to say that some of that did not exist, but again, to victimize the victim further, which is what we were also talking about. So again, to now know that these people, these enemies of ours, both the ones that we are very familiar with for the past centuries, and well, they were there too, so I guess it's all the same, but the ones that don't look like us and the ones that do look like us, right? The whole thing now for me and others is there's a very specific thing now to eliminate mother. It's always been there for our men, but now these people, this system does not care about, not that it ever did, but at least for the mother, they would use us to make sure that we took care of the children so that the children can be the next enslaved, you see. So for real, that's really what the mother thing was about for the system. But now, with the sophistication of things, and with these other kind of parenting structures that are in place, they don't need the Black woman now. They don't need mother, you see. So now it's about getting rid of us too, intentionally and aggressively. And we better be very clear about that, because they now know how to create institutions and adoption services and all of that for our children. And that's where we're at now, family. They want our children. They always wanted to keep our men out. So they would leave a little opening there for the women.
Wow, like we lost Sister Empress. Hopefully she'll be back on shortly. All right, coming back to the forefront. Looks like we lost Brother Knowledge as well. And hopefully he'll be coming back into the forefront. All right, with that being said, we're going to transition really quickly and hit another subject matter, hit another category. So we'll bring this information to you all, family. Next, we're going to touch base on holistic optimum health, wellness. All right, so let me come here. Let me share this video with you all. Let me go ahead and share my screen.
While you doing that, I'm gonna check the what's your name feeds as well, just make sure we ain't getting disconnected from that, because we losing ethereal journalists off the Ethereum left and right.
Right. See if we can get him beam back on. All right. All right. So yeah, let me bring this to you, family, and let's check it out. This latest information, all right, based on some of these companies and corporations and the quote unquote food. I got to put a quote on it because what we're receiving, what's being supplied in a lot of these stores, a lot of the products are not food at all. It is some type of synthetic, uh, manufactured manipulation in the form of food, right? Okay, let's get into it.
Guess who's getting sued for selling poison to you?
Coca-Cola, Kraft, PepsiCo, General Mills, and Nestle. Their products include Oreos, Cola, Doritos, mac and cheese, Cheerios, and Sour Patch Kids. The city's lawsuit argues that these companies knew they were selling food that made people sick, but sold it anyway.
Family, I try to tell you all, these companies, these brands do not care about you. They don't care about you, your health, your wellness, none of that. And this is how people become victims to the standard American diet and end up being the sheep being led by the shepherds of destruction. You wonder why you're sick. You wonder why you have diabetes. You wonder why you have brain fog. You wonder why you have chronic illness and chronic inflammation all over your body, because you have been feeding your body processed food and you have become a lab rat to these companies. All their legal ingredients on you. Can say is that I care about you. This is the reason why I come out with wellness content. This is the reason why I tell you about fasting, detoxing, eating your fruits, going to your bed at a certain time, and to take the initiative to better yourself and to develop a more healthy lifestyle. Family, I'm tired of seeing people suffering. I'm tired of seeing people dying from things that can be prevented when they can live a healthy lifestyle and discipline themselves. I am just a messenger, but you have to make the choice to make a change. Follow me for more healthy health content like this. Comment the word FAST to get my 21-day raw cleansing, detoxing ebook. It's going to be great for beginners. It's going to be great for you to press the restart button on your body of all that processed food and junk food and food that no longer serve you any longer. Your health is the true wealth. So invest in it, family. Remember, they don't care about you, but I do.
All right, let me stop it there. Let me stop my screen share there. All right, family. So we getting more and more information on some of the nefarious uh, intents as far as these companies are concerned, the corporations are concerned. Only really you know dealing with the incentivization of profits, right, of their bottom line, cutting corners, cutting costs at all costs, dealing with aspects of genetic modifications in order to yield larger crops, in order to yield larger profits. How can we make more, for cheaper? And so the end results, at the end of the day, we're finding out that the majority of it is non-edible, is carcinogenic, carcinogenic, is poisonous, family. All right. And of course, these companies already knew this. They already know this. Okay. But, their main concern is their profit margins, not the people. Okay. And so that's why you have record numbers of diseases, record numbers of obesity, as it pertains to heart disease, high cholesterol, okay, different cancers. So hopefully I can say that, and pulmonary heart disease, okay, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. All right, these things are rapidly increasing, all right, exponentially within the populace. Dementia, and other aspects and elements of diseases. Okay. Okay. So, this is what is happening. This is what's going on, and you need to be made aware of it. You need to be abreast of it, and to be able to make the proper shifts, the proper changes, mentally first, family, to realize that this is what these things are. And of course, they taste good, and they smell good. They're actually designed to do so. They're actually in the lab, creating these chemical compounds to make sure that you get addicted, family. This is the new drug, okay? And they're putting it in the food, and it's also poisonous. All right. So, and that gets to a whole nother topic and subject matter as it pertains to the connection with it's linked, the Food and Drug Administrations, right? The FDA. Okay, how they're on food and drug. That's a coincidence, because after you consume all of this toxic, poisonous foods, they put you on toxinous, poisonous drugs that don't actually cure anything. All they do is provide pacifications, and they also provide other side effects, which is going to cause you to do what? Need more drugs, because that's what they're going to prescribe you. They're not going to tell you, you need to have a healthy lifestyle. You need to have a healthy diet and exercise. You need to stay away from these ultra processed foods because they're poisonous. Okay, they're in tandem. They're working hand in hand, and then that takes you right into the hospital bed. Okay, to be able to fuel that industry. All right, because that's big money as it pertains to insurance. So all of these major companies and corporations are connected, and one thing leads to the other. And then finally, the funeral home. Okay, and where the state benefits from that as well, from your death certificate. All right, so all across the board, they're making money from your birth certificate to your death certificate and everything in between, with this system that this rat race, this treadmill that they got us running on, this hamster wheel that they got us running in, and we're getting fatter and fatter and sicker and more out of our minds, and more and more out of our natural spirits, out of our natural bodies, disconnecting us with the animals, disconnecting us with the earth, and disconnecting us with the Almighty. All right, so we can be totally and completely manipulated, pushed and prodded, right? And we are now the animals that are being farmed, physically, mentally, and spiritually, family. So take heed, take notice, and make the change. All right, let me open up the floor with that being said to the family.
Yeah, I'll take a shot at that from a personal, holistic approach. As part of the solution, not giving out any medical advice or anything like that, but we definitely have to do things that are going to combat and offset what has been set up for your demise. Like you said, from the graveyard. I mean, from the coming out of the womb to the graveyard, from the womb to the tomb. Everything is set up for your ultimate demise, especially when it comes to what you're putting in your mouth. Because if you continue to eat what they give you, like you said, the ultra processed foods and the bioengineered foods and things like that, your avatar, your meat suit is not going to respond correctly. And that's why you have all these ailments. You have all these, sicknesses and people running in and out of hospitals and having to be put on pharmaceutical drugs to regulate the crap that they're putting in their mouth. So from a personal, holistic standpoint, I'll give you an example. A few years back, being in public health and everything like that, I used to, be on a computer all the time, and my eyes started, acting crazy and running together, and words be running together. And I said, you know what? I need to go back to what I learned earlier in my life. Go and look at the sun gaze. Man, I used to wear these 3.0. The ones that you get at the dollar store, the Google John, the bifocal Johns.
Mm-hmm.
I used to wear them Johns, man, because I couldn't even read from the computer, and then it started affecting me reading on paper. Just reading regular books or newspapers and everything else. And I said, I got to do something about this, and I don't want to go to the eye doctor and getting that laser surgery or whatever, LASIK surgery and stuff.
Mhm.
So what I did, man, I started sun gazing. I'm telling you, within, I'd say 6 months, my eyesight got better. And it offset me having to go to the dollar store, because you know them dollar store glasses are cheap as hell, and then you can't find it. You got 2.75s, 3.0s, and all that other kind of stuff, which is what I needed, because I needed to magnify the words on my computer screen as well as when I'm reading newspapers or books or things like that. So I don't even use those 3.0s no more. And I attribute it to doing something holistically and naturally that our ancestors once did, who would get out in the sun and sun gaze, who would get out in the sun. And as you always say, and you said it on a few shows, and this is something, you know, biologically, we should all know that your skin is what? Your what?
Organ in the body.
Biggest organ in the body. I wanted you to say that. And you have to utilize the fact that if it's an organ, you got organs internally that's underneath your skin, but how are you going to address the biggest organ in your body, which is your skin? Well, if you carbonated and melanated, in other words, you got a black skin or brown skin, the sun, it gives you natural vitamin D. It gives you all of the things that your avatar needs, and it's coming from a natural, holistic point of view, because it's the sun. The sun has always been our friend to help us with diseases. That's why when a lot of our people started moving to northern parts of the world where it was colder, they started getting more sicker, because they're living in a place where, you know, the sun is not as available near the equators of where we come from, versus living up north in Poland or Iceland, or even in some parts of the United States, like even up in Philadelphia and New York. You don't get as much sun as you would probably, you know, below the Mason-Dixon line, which, you know, is the South. So I encourage people on a holistic level, not giving out medical advice, but even from that perspective, when I started sunbathing on a regular basis, my diseases and my sicknesses were non-existent. It's like a plant. A plant is, you know, we know that photosynthesis is one of the things that keeps plants alive. They don't suck on nothing all day long. They don't put nothing in their mouth. They just sit up there and bathe in the sun. And that's what I encourage people to do. Do something different than what the doctor gave you in a prescription to regulate your blood pressure. Do something different. Go out in the ground, put your feet into Mother Earth and ground. The frequency of the Earth is 7.83, and they call it the Schumann frequency, as we've talked about it. If you put that frequency, all your electromagnetic cells will be charged, just like they ground a house. How you think your house is grounded? They ground it into the ground of Mother Earth. So if you're an electromagnetic being, what makes you think that would not benefit you? So I do all those things, and I have not been sick in years. And I do intermittent fasting, like the brother was saying in the video, because it gives your body a chance for your cells to heal. You know, when you fast, and then you also do the grounding, get that electromagnetic energy from the earth, from Mother Earth, from Nana Earth, or whatever. And then you do the sunbathing, and then we wouldn't have to have all these practitioners practicing on you, because that's what they're doing. That's why they call it a practice. They just practice it. And if it works, maybe we could do it on everybody, but everybody's biochemical makeup is different. But one thing is consistent, is that sun and Mama Earth giving you that good energy. So, you know, do some different things is what I'm trying to impress on people, instead of just relying on Dr. So-and-so or that person so-and-so to try to get you healthy. Because what they're going to feed you, whether it's from the food that they're telling you to eat, it's all going to continue to wreak havoc on your avatar, your meat suit, until you finally end up going into a funeral home and getting embalmed and sent on way, because you done transitioned to be an ancestor. So just do some different things is what I'm trying to pretty much say. And with that being said, I'll land my plane right there.
All right. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Let me come on over to okay, let's I don't think Brother Knowledge is back in the room. All right, let me come over to Sister Empress.
All right, so I got bumped off a little while ago. I'm not sure how much of that y'all heard, but moving right along, The thing that I just want to add to that, and you're right on point, L, definitely. But the thing I want to add to that is, really, this system really provides, or should I say, indoctrinates a mindset of excessiveness as well. And what I mean by that is, as we are pertaining to food in particular, when we're young, we're usually indoctrinated with 3 meals a day. And then, we're told what that should be and so forth and so on. And that standard is still, even though people are becoming more health conscious, that standard is still very much in our communities. And so the thing too is, no matter which way you're going with this, most bodies do not need all of that food. That's just the bottom line.
Yep.
So most are consuming, and even people who are, doing things more naturally are consuming too much food. Your body can't break that stuff down, like that. Even when it's more natural, it's still, people are still putting too much into their bodies. And then for the breakdown, they put more on top of it. And so again, we're in a situation now where we have to recognize that, number one, or if not number one, our bodies do not need as much as we've been told. And like Elle said, you do have to know that each body is different, or, there's different functions, but just generally speaking, the amount of food, even if it's natural food, the amount of food that most are consuming is too much. It's too much based on what your body actually needs. And I mean, we all go off track a little bit. I even do myself periodically. I'll do something, not too much though, or too often.
I'm a Haagen-Dazs dude, so I go. That's the track I go off. Matter of fact, I'll be crashing into people's houses when it comes to Haagen-Dazs ice cream.
Yeah, so I mean, track. Yeah, but that that is what it is. I mean, but generally speaking, most folk are on a day-to-day basis, L, are really consuming too much food. They really are. So we're on a totally different frequency now, a totally different level. We're even saying to those who are, striving in a certain way, in reality, you're even going to have to now look at some of that, because a lot of what is being consumed is too much. And I'll land my plane there.
Absolutely. Thank you for that addition, Sister Empress.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been pushed towards dealing with overconsumption all across the board, right? And so, with products, you know what I mean, bigger TVs, we need bigger phones, we need bigger houses, we need bigger cars, or just more of those things, more clothes, more shoes, more bags, right? So we're living in a society that pushes over consumption that also includes our food, right? So the biggest meatiest burger, even from the beginning, the onset, when we talk about the standard American diet or the SAD diet, shout out to Dr. Price on that, and coincidentally, the standard American diet, SAD, SAD, right? And so in all different aspects, we're looking at a death culture, right? A death style. This is not a lifestyle. This is not something that will sustain and continue to move life forward. All right. These are things that really push and lend towards further death and deterioration, family. All right. Mentally, physically, and spiritually. So, once we kind of know and understand that these are the poisons we're being fed, we need to push back off the table, right? And begin to source these things for ourselves. And, food is fuel for the body, family. Okay. If you look at it in that perspective, all right. If you keep on squeezing that trigger, right, and into your gas tank, you know what I'm saying? It is going to overflow. It's going to overflow, right? you can drown from too much water. Okay, too much of anything is a bad thing. All right, so whether it be quote unquote healthy foods or unhealthy foods, and also don't get caught up into the paradigm recently where they talk about these plant-based products, right? Because a lot of that is poisonous as well,
You
right?
talking about that mystery meat they be serving? They call what they call the burgers when they first came out about 3 or 4 or 5 years ago
The
from Burger King.
impossible.
The impossible. It is
It
impossible.
is
Yeah.
impossible. It is absolutely impossible. So that stuff is laden with chemicals and so on and so forth. So you want to lend towards what is going to be of nature. The creator provides all the things that we need, and they've even genetically modified the produce. You know what I mean? So you have to be careful with that. You want to make sure that, or I would advise, or I would recommend, or from my perspective, vantage point, I look towards eating whole foods. I look towards eating foods that have seeds in them, that I can know where they're coming from. I can actually plant that seed and make more of that item. Okay, looking at urban gardening, looking at aspects of agriculture, right? Looking at who are the local farmers in your neighborhood. There's black farmers most likely that you don't even know about. Go ahead and do a quick Google search and being able to know where your food is being sourced from. All right, family. All right, so I'm gonna play a quick video with that being said, and get into some of the solutions. All right, because what some of the problems are. We named some of them, but let me come from and of course, this is not medical advice. All right, this is just my perspective that I'm sharing, and I'll share another perspective coming from, oops, coming from a clinical nutritionist. Okay. All right. So let me go ahead and share this video, and then he's going to talk a little bit about fasting, family. And one of the things that I embarked upon myself is intermittent fasting. Of 16 hours of not consuming any foods. I can drink liquids, water for the most part, perhaps some juice every now and again. Looking at fresh squeezed juices and things of that nature. No added sugar, artificial flavors, or preservatives. Okay, because these things act as preservatives for your body as well. All right, as far as doing similar processes as embalming. All right, so you want to be mindful and careful of that. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Let me share my screen, family, real quick. I'll play a little clip of this, and then we can transition to our next subject matter for this evening. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen. Because in the same manner that we are talking about problems, again, we want to make sure that we are bringing viable solutions and bringing you some source informations and those who are experts in the field to be able to break some of these things down from their perspective. All right. So this brother, he has a whole laboratory, right, and institution that he has built in the mindset of providing information for a better and optimal health and nutrition based on the chemical makeup of our people. All right, let me go ahead and let this rip.
Thing on like how fasting heal the body naturally.
Yeah. So I mean, if you look in the animal kingdom, animals fast. Soon as they get sick, if you have a dog, the moment that your dog get an upset stomach, it stop eating. And then when it do eat, it eat grass because grass acts as like a botanical herb to the actual animal to get them to throw up. And what are they throwing up? They throwing up all of the cytotoxins, the endotoxins, and all the worms that's in them in the first place. Fasting has been a healing mechanism since the beginning of time. That's your regular natural medicine, because usually what make us sick in the first place is the things that we put in our mouths. So when you fast, when you go through fast, there's a 16-hour period where things happen through your fast. So the first 4 to 6 hours, what happened is you become insulin sensitive, because usually a lot of Black Americans are suffering from something called insulin resistance, meaning that you cannot take insulin to get glucose to go into the cell for your body can use that nutrients where you can have energy and vitality to live your everyday life. And this is what you really call diabetes mellitus. Well, what happened when you fast and you're not bringing in all that glucose, and glucose is nothing but sugar. You're not bringing in all of that fructose, which is nothing but sugar. They call them monosaccharides and polysaccharides when you're speaking of in a scientific term. But when you're not bringing those things in, now your body have the ability to awaken these cells called beta cells. And the beta cells is literally in the islands of Langerhans in the pancreas. And this is what produced the insulin. What insulin does is it releases itself into the bloodstream, and it literally acts as a key mechanism to open up the membrane of the cell for glucose can go in. When glucose get in the cell, what happened is you receive this energy, and this energy is how we able to talk and have a conversation with each other right now. And it's called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Without that ATP molecule, you will not have no signal to your cells, which means you have no life. And that's what death is. Cellular death is when you cannot produce no more ATP. Well, what gives you that ATP is insulin being able to unlock the cell to bring the sugar in. So when you fast and then you stop eating, what happened is insulin is able to now be released by the beta cells of the pancreas to allow glucose inside the cells so you can get that energy. That's in the first 4 to 6 hours. Now you start getting up into the 8 to 16th hour of your fast, you go through something called autophagy. If you look at autophagy stands for autophagy. Auto means self, phagy means eating. Your cells begin to eat and degrade or degrade down the bad cells, and it breaks them apart. And all of the parts that can be reused and recycle it back into the bloodstream. But the stuff that's causing, what you will call apoptosis, which means the self-annihilation, or things that, are causing the body to build up and have mucus and oxidation, which means the rusting of the cells. What these do is send it to the lymphatic system, it go to the kidney, and then you wake up and you urinate it out. So fasting literally rebuilds the body. 72 hours into a fast, your whole entire immunological system restarts itself. So, and that's the reason why if you look at any type of cancer, diabetes, any of these diseases, if you just, all you gotta do is research the fasting mechanics behind the disease. There's always peer review science articles backing up how fasting actually helped these things.
So is it true that your body go in survival mode and the good cells start eating the bad cells, and that's how you really cure yourself?
And that's exactly what you just said. What that is called, the scientific term. Look, Holla, the scientific term for that is literally called autophagy. Exactly what you just explained is called autophagy. When you stop eating, you allow your body to start cleaning up, because your body can't do two things at once. The body is not going to yield energy, try to break down food in your digestive system and heal itself at the same time. And that's the reason why sleep is so important, because when you sleep, you what asleep? You're fast asleep. You're in a fasted state. Unless you're a sleepwalker going to the refrigerator eating and can't recall.
That's why you would die from less sleep than not eating.
Exactly.
You'll die quicker from not getting sleep.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, because it's impossible to detox and rebuild the molecular structure without sleep. Sleep is what gives you your muscle recovery. You know what I'm saying? You can't rebuild tissues. You can't structure amino acids. You can't properly detox. You can't kick on something called glutathione peroxidase, which is this molecule. It's a highly antioxidative molecule that be released by the liver to help you detox the body. None of this can even kick on if you don't get enough sleep. In fact, if you get less than 6 hours of sleep, your immune system plummeted and your lymphatic system stop moving. And the lymphatic system is what cleanses the cells of the body. You have 3 different mechanisms. The blood is what feeds the cells of the body all of its phytonutrients. The lymphatic system is what cleanses the cells of the body from all of the toxins. And just by us doing what we're doing now, I'm starting to get a sweat down the back of my neck because I'm utilizing energy. By me doing that, there's a byproduct from that. So the lymphatic system cleanses all of it up. And then the nerve system, it commands and it communicates with the cells of the body. Everybody think that you just got to eat bad to get sick. No, just being alive, you can get sick. Because there's no such thing as free energy. As long as you breathing, there's a byproduct from it. You breathe in oxygen and you exhale what? Carbon dioxide. That's a byproduct. So, if you work out, if you run, that builds up lactic acid. That's a byproduct. So whether you eating healthy or not, you still are creating these byproducts. These byproducts rust in a basically acidify the cells. And that's where disease really starts in there, because when acid hit a cell, it deprives the cells of what you will call oxygen, or what we'll call anabolic. And then when you get into these anabolic states, you start suffocating the cells. Just imagine somebody putting their hands over your hands in your mouth. You can't breathe. This is happening to us on a cellular level every day, but just because it's not over our hands and our mouth, we're not even thinking about that.
Stuff we put on our skin.
Yes, because your skin is the largest organ of the body. Everything you put in your skin goes into the bloodstream. You see that? So you just got to think about the world we in now, especially 2025. We in America, we got chemtrails, contrails, environmental pollutants, contaminated, fluorinated, chlorinated water, cell phones, which is dirty radiation. Let's not even talk about the plug outlets, which is dirty electricity. Think about the clothes, polyester, your fabrics is not mixed, bring it down to actual hurts of your body. Your shoes, we got these rubber soles keeping us disconnected from the earth. So that's automatic. You have to. If you don't, it's gonna steal your soul. I call these soul catchers. And that's why I try to keep my shoes off as much as possible on the actual ground, because Mother Earth been healing us for thousands of years, but all of these man-made technologies and these advanced technologies is getting us further and further away from nature.
So I got a big following, and when I start watching you, I start doing a lot of posting. So I did my 21 day. How many times I did a fruit diet? I did a lot of times. I did a lot of 21 days.
I believe you went on the first one.
Yeah, exactly. I just call them every minute. Hey, can I get this? Should I eat that? I call my man every day. So a lot of people used to say, I couldn't really explain it like you. I just send them to you or send them your page. But tell the people right now, me doing a fruit diet and me working out, they used to say, how you get your protein? Can you tell them why that's a myth?
Well, protein is a myth. When you look at what a protein is a complex amino acid structures. Amino acids is what we need. Amino acids build the body. The body don't need protein. The body need amino acids. And then what the body do is go through something called methylation and creates its own protein. So with the ideology saying that we need to eat meat or we need to eat all of these things to gather protein, all you have to do is look at the most muscular mammals in the kingdom, the animal kingdom. Most of them eat nothing. They plants. They eat plants. They don't eat fruit. Exactly. All day. Elephant. Day. So you got the largest. The largest will be the elephant. It is a plant-based diet. The oldest is a tortoise on a plant-based diet. The strongest, we would say, is a gorilla, a plant-based diet. So when you look at the oldest, the strongest, and the most thriving animals in the animal kingdom, none of them eat meat. The protein is a myth. Now, am I saying do it exist? Yes, it exists. But saying that our bodies need it and we need to get it from an outside source, that's a complete lie. And this is coming from a certified biochemist. What we need is simple amino acid structures. Then our body go through methylation, where our liver take these amino acid structures and then it put them together and form what you will call a complex amino acid structure, which is a protein. But getting protein sources outside already assembled and bringing them in, you have to think about the last name of it, amino what? Acids. It's very, very acidic. And that's why a lot of bodybuilders that's on all of the proteins and on all of the shakes, their kidneys end up going down and then they come to me. But then you got bodybuilders that know how to eat clean and know these concepts that still build the same amount of muscle. You know what I'm saying? But they more on a plant-based diet and they looking like the gorilla and they looking like the horse and the cow with this tons of massive weight. And at the same time, they don't have a lot of anabolic lactic acid killing them.
We're really eating the middleman.
So while and look, we from the streets. Yeah. We don't like middlemen.
Yeah, so you really gonna eat that when that's getting this protein from that, when you can just go straight to the
source. Yeah. Straight to the source.
And our bodies tell us what we need.
Yes.
I couldn't go catch a chicken and go eat it if nothing was here for me to catch a chicken. Yeah. But I could go climb a tree or grab a fruit. Everything's right there for me.
We talking about diet and physiology. And it just shows you diet.
I'm sorry, babe. I'm locked in. You gonna have your show. You gonna have your show. I'm locked in, man. When one of them, all right.
So we talking about diet, physiology, and anatomy. And this concept is a brilliant concept. I've been teaching about it and learning about this for the last 15 years. And it's if you was born from the womb of your mother completely naked, and you grew up that way, no clothes, you didn't have the understanding of building tools and utensils, how would you get your food? Naturally, you would know that you will go and you will find something growing from the earth and you will be able to pick and pluck and eat from that. Down when you start to get into advanced civilizations and mankind, if you look at a natural predator in the jungle or in the deserts, they're not vertical and upright like us. They're horizontal. They stay low to the ground. They also have a tail, and this tail keep them straight when they're running up to 60 to 70 miles an hour to track down a prey. They actually got claws. Claws is what rips the actual meat and flesh from the bones. They also have canines, because canines can break into the bone and rip the meat and flesh from the bone. When you look at their intestines is only 10 feet long. Ours is 36 feet long. So they have to eat something and get it in and get it out very fast. If you look at their jaw structure, they cannot pulverize like a human. They only go up and down. So they don't even chew their food. They rip, tear, and swallow. If you rip, tear, and swallow as a human being, you'll be dead. Yeah. So when you look at the physiology and you look at the anatomy of predators and carnivores versus people that do not eat meat, which is humans, we are not. And I'm going to be specific. So-called African Americans is really supposed to be on a plant-based, what I would call vegan diet. We don't have that. Our hydrochloric acid inside of our stomach is not hot enough. Our teeth is not sharp enough, and we just don't have the utensils. Now, and this is what I was just getting into at a lecture that I'm doing tomorrow at Clark University. Yeah, pop up. Now look, now check this out. If you look at a predator that eat nothing but meat, notice all of his regenerative organ parts, his reproductive organs is in the back. And then they have this shield in the front called the chest. And it's when they stand up like that. So they literally are blocking, their bodies were made to block and protect their internal organs because they running up on big animals. I can't, if I go try to eat a gazelle and it kick me, it's going to kick my chest and I'm cool. Now imagine a human being that's upright and you so vulnerable. Look, your genetic material right here. Imagine going up to a gazelle and trying to kill it and it kick you in your nuts. How you going to reproduce? So even looking at it from that standpoint, you can tell what God created to eat other living things and meats, and you can tell which he didn't. An animal right now cannot go to a tree, use its thumbs and its fingers to pluck an apple from the tree. But we can. So if you look in the fowl kingdom, you have fowls that eat nothing but meat. These are called carnivore fowls, vultures, hawks, eagle. They eat nothing but meat. Then you have another form of fowl that eat nothing but nectar. Hummingbirds. They love the actual nectar and the sop from trees. Then you have other fowls that eat nothing but fruits, the parakeet. In its natural rights, the tunica, in a natural right state, they love nothing but fruits in the jungles. So, and then you got birds that eat nothing but nuts and seeds. So even though we're talking about the bird kingdom, there's many different, based on the geographical location and the genetics of that bird, they all eat different diets. So we can even talk about the mountain lion and the regular lion. We could talk about the grizzly bear and the polar bear. Geographical locations different, genetics is different, even though that they all are a part of these different names and they eat different things. Why do that matter to the animals? But when it comes to human beings, that don't matter at all. We all can just eat the same thing. No.
Let me stop my screen share there, family. Hopefully you were able to take a little something from that and to be able to digest it. All right, family. So, just a briefing on different aspects and elements of optimum health and nutrition. Any other add-ins on that before we go to the next subject matter?
That's my man, Yaki Awaken, man. He's
shout out to Dr. Yakai.
Dr. Yakai. That's Awaken? That's the Awaken, right?
Yes,
yeah.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. That brother's deep, man. He does a breakdown like a righteous scientist that's trying to help you would do, as opposed to experimenting on you. You know what I mean? He breaking that whole food piece down, and he even added some things that we just talked about concerning, grounding and getting that energy from Nana Earth, and all the great things that we know help us in a holistic approach if you're willing to look at things from a different lens point, a viewpoint, when other things that you've been doing has not been working. And we know that many people are sick because they continue to do the same damn thing, thinking they're going to get different results. You keep popping that pill to take care of your blood pressure. You keep popping that pill to take care of your whatever you got going on. It's not going to get better. It's just going to give you another drug that's going to just ease the pain for a minute and sort of control the symptoms. But ultimately, You got to do something different, man. We as a people, like he said, we don't come from backgrounds where we were going to doctors. We had, we had the tribal, whatever medicine man or whatever that when somebody got sick, he'd come in and do what he had to do, or she would do what she had to do. And that was it. And the child was given holistic approaches as opposed to this nonsense with all this pharmaceutical and pseudo this, that, and the third that's killing people. So, or unaliving people. So I love Dr. Yaqui, man. He's a great warrior for the health and nutrition and wellness for our people. And with that being said, I yield.
All right. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Okay. Have any other additions or waiting on that? Family that's in the StreamYard. We're going to open up that floor shortly. Just want to get through this information. Then we're going to open up on the back end any questions or comments. So if you have any of those, please take note. And we're going to get to some, open up the floor at the end for questions or comments, any additions. All right. Okay. Let me see. Let me move to the next piece. All right, family. Let me, so we're getting into, and this is getting into universe omniverse. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, for those who don't know, today was the blood moon, the last blood moon of 2026, and we will not see another until 2028. So on 3/3.
New Year's 2028. If we can make it there, if we as a humankind can make it there with all this chaos going on, right?
Yes, indeed. So yeah, let me go ahead and share my screen here, family. Let's talk about what's going on with the moon and why that's important. Oh, let me bring it back. I'm gotta get the sound right.
2026, the moon will turn blood red, visible across large parts of the world. As Earth moves perfectly between the sun and the moon, our atmosphere bends sunlight, filtering out every color except red. For nearly an hour, the moon will glow like fire in the night sky. This is a total lunar eclipse. Will you be watching?
All right. Total lunar eclipse, family. I think I have one more. Let me see. Let me go to this. I think this is the breakdown. Okay, let me go ahead and share this really quickly. And then I'm coming to you all for commentary. And we're going to have to move a little bit quickly because we are coming to closing for tonight's session. All right. So I'm going to go to the next subject matter because I do want to make sure that I hit one of our hot topics for this evening. All right, dealing with what we've seen with the transgressions of the United States and Israel. Share my screen here, family. If you can see it, total lunar eclipse tonight will be last until New Year's Eve 2028. I've also seen December of 2028, so we'll see how that pans out. After this blood moon, our natural satellite will not fully disappear into Earth's shadow again until nearly 3 years later, until the rare trifecta of total lunar eclipse in 2028 to 2029 ends the drought. Okay. All right, family. All right, let me come back to the EtheReal Journalist, and let me stop my screen share there. Let me come back to the EtheReal Journalist for any additions.
Yeah, we've talked about the cosmos, and we love to talk about that because that's what being ethereal is. We cover all these bases of the natural realm of time and space that we live in, as well as the ethereal, universal ether parts and the cosmos and intergalactic part. But the blood moon is something that I always observe when it ain't cloudy, and I can, even if I can't observe it, I can feel it. And I think the last blood moon I had remember observing was November the 8th, 2022. And I was still working at that time. But something came on me and came over me that night when I was viewing it. And the blood moon can represent some different things that are getting ready to happen in your own individual personal life, or even in the scale of a world perspective, like what we see right now. You see, we got a war going on right around the time the blood moon came in. And Purim, which is the celebration of, like I said, Queen Esther saving the real Israelite people back in her time against the Persian king, not Persian king, yeah, Haman, who was trying to get them all, pretty much annihilated. But the bottom line is the blood moon is very important because it's a portent of things to come. But that November 8th blood moon, the next day, they chased me around my office like I was a runaway slave, trying to get me up out of there because I had, brought some things to the upper management. And the day before, or the night before, during the November 8th blood moon, I said something's just getting ready to happen. I didn't know if it was going to me personally, or if it was going to be a world thing or an international thing, or, whatever. But it happened to me personally. So the blood moon is a portent of things to come. You could get uneasy sometimes, like I was that day. And then the next day, that was what I believe the frequency I was on when I was observing it that night. So I'm just saying, pay attention to the cosmos because it tells the story. And sometimes it might tell a personal story for you. And the story that's happening right now is that they decided they wanted to attack Iran right around this time to distract us from the cosmos, I do believe, because a lot of people are getting energy from that cosmos, or they're getting some kind of frequency downloads from the universe, and they don't want you to pay attention to it. They want you to pay attention to them bombing up those innocent and poor people over there in a foreign land. So with that being said, the blood moon is very important. Pay attention to the skies, like Earth, Wind, and Fire used to say. Keep your eyes, keep your head to the sky. And with that being said, I hand it back over.
All right, yes, indeed. Thank you for that addition, Brother Pollinator. Let me open up the floor once again, EtheReal Journalist. If you have anything additional to add to the blood moon.
I just want to add real quick. I know we working with the time situation. Brother L, I think that was ill that you said November 2022, November 8th, 2022. So, shifting into that Scorpio type of situation, and there was some war on the front, right? There was a war on the front of 2022. You see what I'm saying? That kind of kicked off in 2020. I think it was a little earlier than that, but in 2022, in particular, the biological warfare during the reset was at an all-time high. You understand what I'm saying? So the amount of fear-mongering that was ramped up during that time, and if we look in comparison to right now, you see the same propaganda, wars, rumors of war, and pestilence.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? So dealing in the realm of pestilence and what it was right before that in regards to Ebola and some of these other things that was getting pushed around right before I went smack dab into what we were dealing with in 2022.
The monkeypox is what we were dealing with as well. The new monkeypox that was infecting and a lot of our people. But yes. A lot of things was hitting right around that blood moon time. I can remember it very vividly. But I'm sorry for interrupting it, bro.
I'm glad you added that on in regards to that, because again, we're painting pictures because we're asking people to look. We're asking people to think. We're not asking people to react and to go into a space of fear. We're operating from a space of clarity, not fear. And if you're studying these transits, you're studying these ancient sciences, you're paying attention to what's happening, right? Because it already happened, right? So third dimension, if this is the last place where it's happening, this is where we're seeing the after effects. We're not seeing things as they are, we're seeing things as they were. And the proof and the science of that always is we see sunlight as it was, not as it is. So 8.5 minutes it takes for sunlight to hit the earth. So we see it as it was. So we see these events, right? We even say current events as if that current event is current. It's a past event. It already happened, right? So we're dealing with the aftermath and the after effects of it. So now people are reporting on these things that happened. They are past events, right? So we're dealing with things in a tense type of situation and understanding what that tense is, with intensity. So our mind gives it credence and it has the ability to make these things now, like the scripture says, making all things new. So just adding it in from that perspective in regards to this moon and this reflection time that we're in. We also in Pisces season, just really quick, we're in Pisces season, which is the last on the zodiacal wheel. And it's a time where you reflect. This is the winter season. This is the space of hibernation too. So because we're in this reflection season, it makes sense that these things are happening right now and why this retrograde is happening in Pisces season. So just being mindful of the transits and the effects, they'll tell you all of the awful effects of Mercury retrograde as far as technology and communication and all these other things, but they won't tell you like this is one of the greatest times to be still and to contemplate your last year before you go into your new year. When you go from this winter state or this disciplining, freezing up state to going forward into the future, to spring forward. So what does your Aries season look like in regards to the clock being reset? So a reflection time necessary for you to be able to reset that clock from that 12th hour into your new year, so to speak. So I deal with that.
But not to mention real quick the recent 6 planetary alignment. See, they go off of the star systems more than we do. They plan their activities, and you notice they always have a big distraction right when that something's going on in our universe. With that being said, I yield.
Right.
Indeed. And thank you for those additions, Brother Pollinator and Brother Born. I'm not sure if you would like to tap in on that, Sister Empress, before we move on to our next subject, our last subject for this evening. You are currently on mute. Okay. All right. So it looks like we are going to move to our last category and subject matter for this evening, which is going to be current events and politics. All right, family. So let me jump into that really quickly, share my screen, and then we're going to have about two clips I want to share for you, and then we'll come on back, have our commentary and close out for this evening. All right, let me share my screen. Let me share my screen real quick, family. And let's talk about what is popping off geopolitically, what is happening internationally. All right. And then we're going to share some perspectives on possibilities of why that is. Is this all about, freedom and democracy and, people having the right to protest and, oppression of the people and bringing democracy to the people, which is funny and ironic and Hippocratic at the same time, because those freedoms are not equally shared here in the U.S. Let me come to this video and we're gonna break it all down.
Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Iran's state broadcaster says U.S. and Israeli attacks have killed 787 people since President Trump joined Prime Minister Netanyahu in a massive bombing campaign, striking 153 cities and more than 500 sites across Iran since Saturday. Much of the violence is directed at Iran's capital, Tehran, where thunderous explosions rang out for a third night in a row and into the daylight hours. Residents woke to
scenes of widespread destruction, with city streets littered with debris from collapsed buildings. One attack hit Nilufar Square in eastern Tehran, flattening buildings and killing over 20 people. Drop site news reports 2 explosions hit the area, a smaller strike followed by a larger double tap attack that devastated much of the neighborhood. On Monday, mourners in the southern city of Minab held a mass funeral Monday for 165 schoolgirls and staff killed Saturday on the first day of the U.S.-Israeli strikes when a missile hit a girls' school. Meanwhile, red alert sirens have been activated across much of Israel, with the Israeli military reporting missile interceptions over West Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, and Eilat. On Monday, Ali Larijani, the secretary of the Iranian Supreme National Security Council, warned, quote, Iran, unlike the United States, has prepared itself for a long war, he said. Iran's nuclear agency says there's been no leakage of radiological materials after a strike on its Natanz nuclear facility by the U.S.-Israeli coalition. Officials said the strike damaged the entrance to the site in Isfahan province, but there were no signs of increased radiation. On Monday, Rafael Grossi of the International Atomic Energy Agency said he'd seen no indication that Iran's nuclear facilities have been damaged during the latest U.S.-Israeli strikes.
We haven't seen major military activity targeting the nuclear facilities. We have been looking at different satellite images. There might be something there, but not significant or comparable in any way to what we saw last time.
Global energy prices are climbing, and Iran's continued attacks on oil and gas infrastructure across the Gulf. On Monday, a commander in Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps declared the Strait of Hormuz closed, saying any ships attempting to cross the narrow shipping channel will be set afire. About a fifth of all oil consumed worldwide passes through the strait each day. At least 3 oil tankers have been struck so far. Qatar's state-owned fossil fuel company suspended all liquefied natural gas production after 2 of its facilities were hit. That followed a drone attack that halted operations at Saudi Arabia's largest domestic oil refinery. Oil production has also halted in Iraqi Kurdistan and in the Tamar gas field in the Mediterranean Sea off Israel's coast. Saudi authorities say 2 Iranian drones hit the U.S. embassy in Riyadh, causing what they described as a limited fire and minor damage. The strikes came after the U.S. State Department urged Americans in 14 Mideast countries to leave. Meanwhile, Middle East Eye reports the Trump administration stonewalling requests by some Gulf states to replenish their supplies of air defense interceptor missiles, which typically cost about $4 million each, amidst reports that even the Pentagon may run low on interceptors in a matter of weeks. Iran's been launching $20,000 one-way attack drones at Gulf nations, hosting U.S. military bases, with about 10% of the drones slipping past defenses. Israeli soldiers have invaded parts of southern Lebanon in Israel's largest escalation of fighting there since it signed a ceasefire deal with Hezbollah in late 2024. Israeli airstrikes have hit the capital Beirut for a second consecutive day, targeting residential neighborhoods. They also struck Lebanon's Bekaa Valley and the southern suburbs of Beirut. The Lebanese health ministry says the death toll from the attacks has climbed to 51, with 154 people injured. Meanwhile, Hezbollah claimed an attack on an airbase in northern Israel. In the Gaza Strip, the World Food Program says a border crossing pivotal to providing food and supplies to Palestinians is reopening after Israel closed Gaza's borders on Saturday as it began its attacks on Iran. Despite the reopening of the Kerem Shalom crossing, human rights and aid groups have accused Israel of reinstating a starvation policy in Gaza. Philippe Lazzarini, the head of the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, wrote, quote, after more than 2 years of unspeakable suffering and a spreading man-made famine, People still lack the most basic supplies despite increases in aid since the ceasefire, Lazzarini said. President Trump made his first public remarks Monday since unilaterally bringing the United States into a war with Iran. Trump spoke from a White House ceremony where he awarded the Medal of Honor to 3 Army soldiers, even as the Pentagon said the U.S. military death toll from what it's calling Operation Epic Fury had risen to 6. Trump dedicated a few moments to honor the service members who died before launching into a lengthy monologue about his renovations to the White House, including his plans to build a new ballroom.
I picked those drapes in my first term. I always like gold, but I think we can save a lot of money. I just saved curtains, but and it'll be spectacular. It'll be the most beautiful ballroom. I believe it because I built many a ballroom. I believe it's going to be the most beautiful ballroom anywhere in the world.
On Capitol Hill, Secretary of State Marco Rubio joined top generals and intelligence officials in a classified briefing for select members of Congress Monday. After the closed-door briefing, Rubio told reporters the president had opted to join Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's planned war in Iran rather than trying to stop the Israeli assault or even to avoid getting involved.
The president made the very wise decision. We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties.
Meanwhile, MS Now is reporting that when FBI Director Kash Patel fired a dozen FBI personnel last week because they were part of the investigation into Donald Trump's mishandling of classified documents, Patel targeted an elite counter-espionage unit that investigates threats from foreign adversaries and specializes in Iran. The U.S. military may have used artificial intelligence tools made by tech company Anthropic to aid in its deadly air attack on Iran. The Wall Street Journal and Axios reported the Trump administration's decision came despite Anthropic's announcement last week rejecting the use of its Claude AI model from being used for mass domestic surveillance or in fully autonomous weapons systems. The Journal reported U.S. military officials use the AI tools for intelligence purposes and to help select targets. On Friday, President Trump ordered all federal agencies to stop using Claude, denouncing Anthropic as a, quote, radical left AI company, unquote, after Anthropic refused to concede to a Pentagon ultimatum Friday for full access to its AI tools. On Capitol Hill, calls are growing for lawmakers to regulate online betting platforms known as prediction markets amidst allegations of insider trading that includes profiteering from U.S. military strikes. Bloomberg reports $529 million was traded on contracts tied to the timing of the strikes on the Polymarket prediction market. One Polymarket account called MAGA My Man made more than $500,000 betting on the U.S. attack on Iran, with the first trade placed just over an hour before the news broke publicly. This echoes similar bets on the U.S. military operation Venezuela placed on Polymarket and other prediction markets, including Kalshi. Donald Trump Jr. sits on Polymarket's advisory board, and his venture capital firm has invested tens of millions of dollars in the company. Both the Justice Department and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau ended active investigations into Polymarket after Trump returned to the White House last year. In Texas, voters are taking to the polls today for a closely watched Democratic primary between Congressmember Jasmine Crockett and State Representative James Tallarico, who are vying for a highly contested Senate seat in a heated midterm election that could determine which political party will control Congress during Trump's final 2 years in office. Incumbent Republican Senator John Cornyn, who served in the Senate for over 2 decades, is facing off against Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton in the GOP primary. Both are Trump supporters. Crockett is a progressive who staunchly denounced Trump's policies, while her opponent, Tallarico, has appealed to Republican voters and put his Christian faith at the center of his campaign. In Minnesota, the Justice Department's indicted another 30 people on federal crimes for participating in a peaceful protest in January at a St. Paul church where one of the pastors worked for ICE. Attorney General Pam Bondi confirmed over 24 people have been arrested. The new indictments come about a month after independent journalists Don Lemon and Georgia Fort and prominent civil rights activist and attorney Nekima Levy Armstrong were also charged for what the Attorney General called their roles in the protest at City's church. They were covering it. In related news, a federal judge has summoned Minnesota's U.S. Attorney Daniel Rosen and several ICE officials to appear in a St. Paul court today over violations in immigration cases. The officials are facing civil and criminal contempt charges for repeatedly ignoring court orders, including refusing to return belongings such as cell phones, cash, and passports.
Let me go ahead and stop my screen share there, family. Let me stop my screen share there. And let me just play the intro clip to this. I just want to connect these two things together really quickly. And then I will come to you all for commentary before I get into the last clip, which is kind of going to put it into perspective, another element, that connects all of these, this war, as well as a few other wars in the Middle East and some of their actual root causes, all right? That has nothing to do with freedom or democracy, because in most cases, family, when you want to get to the bottom of things, as the old saying goes, follow the money.
There's mention of Greenland being invaded by the United States. There's the situation in Iran. Trump has snatched Maduro from Venezuela. There's talk of China taking back Taiwan. What the hell is going on?
Well, what you're seeing is the West becoming weaker and emboldening our enemies, and the final collapse of a shared myth that we were living in a structured world where everything is done according to the rules. That is now gone, and Trump is acting in recognition of that reality, saying we are not going to play by the fake rules anymore that no one else is playing by anyway.
Is there a risk with this strategy?
Of course. And we can talk about the reasons for it. I think it's really important.
The floor is yours.
Konstantin Kisin is one of the sharpest voices in political commentary right now.
He's here to unpack the current geopolitical landscape and what could be done to salvage the West before it's too late.
So Russia invading Ukraine was not an accident. It was a consequence of the fact that Putin felt this was the moment to test the waters. Can we now do the things we've always wanted to do? Because the West lost its focus and sense of purpose. So, for example, I don't know if you know this, Europe is 12% of the world's population, 25% of the world's GDP, and 60% of the world's welfare spending. Germany destroyed its nuclear facilities, thereby making itself reliant on Russian gas. And in Britain, we've destroyed our manufacturing, which is now produced elsewhere. And we've run down our armed forces because we have felt so safe and so comfortable because there's been no consequence. Well, the consequences are here. Per person, we have less money today than we did 20 years ago. We have the highest tax burden in peacetime history. We're driving out the entrepreneurs, and we've already seen a decline in our power in the world and our influence in the world. That's the big danger. But there is an opportunity to turn things around if we can make these big decisions.
But are you hopeful?
All right. And so another perspective. And so he was talking about some of the things that were happening in Great Britain, but also connecting those things that were happening with the U.S. and some of the decisions that were being made. And also some of those same similar circumstances are also evident within the U.S. as well, as far as, manufacturing capabilities and abilities, a lot of outsourcing that has been done to foreign countries and nations, not really being able to produce anything, our dependency on foreign oil, and so forth. So these are some of the factors that are playing into some of these major power moves that are happening across the globe, family. And so when we're looking at these things, we need to be looking at them in this type of holistic perspective and looking at some of the root causes that are behind some of these launching of war. Finally, family, and I'll come to you all for a commentary. Let me get to the connecting piece to some of these wars that have been waged in the Middle East. All right, so let me share my screen one more again. And let's tie all of these pieces together, family. Connecting these dots.
In 2000, Saddam Hussein did something that signed his death warrant. It was not building weapons. It was not threatening his neighbors. He switched Iraq's oil sales from dollars to euros. 3 years later, his country was invaded. His government was destroyed. And the very first thing the American-backed government did, before rebuilding schools, before restoring electricity, was switch Iraq's oil sales back to dollars. 9 years after that, Muammar Gaddafi tried something even bolder. He did not just want to sell oil in a different currency. He wanted to create a brand new one, a gold-backed African currency that would free the entire continent from Western financial control. NATO bombed his country into rubble. He was hunted down and killed in the street. And today, right now, as you are watching this, Black Africans are being sold in open-air slave markets in the country the West liberated. If you are paying attention to what just happened to Iran this weekend, you already know the pattern just repeated itself. Again. If you are new here, subscribe to Black Culture Unlocked right now, because what you are about to hear connects every single one of these wars to the same thing, and it is not what they told you on the news. There is an unspoken rule in the global economy. You can run your country however you want. You can be a dictator. You can crush protests. You can starve your people. As long as you sell your oil in American dollars, the United States will leave you alone. Saudi Arabia has one of the worst human rights records on earth. They execute people in public. They do not allow basic freedoms. And the United States has been their closest ally for decades. Not because of shared values, because Saudi Arabia props up the dollar. Here is how it works. After 1971, when the United States pulled the dollar off the gold standard, American money was no longer backed by anything physical, so the United States government made a deal. Oil-producing nations would sell their oil exclusively in United States dollars. In return, they would get American military protection and access to the global financial system. This is what is known as the petrodollar. It is the single most important economic arrangement in the modern world. As long as every country on Earth needs dollars to buy oil, there will always be demand for dollars. That demand is what keeps the American economy afloat. That demand is what allows the United States to print trillions without the currency collapsing. Break that arrangement, and you become an enemy of the state overnight. In October 2000, Saddam Hussein announced that Iraq would no longer accept US dollars for its oil. He switched the country's oil transactions to euros under the United Nations Oil for Food program. He also converted $10 billion in Iraqi reserves from dollars to euros. Western financial analysts called it irrational. They said Iraq would lose money on conversion fees. They said the euro was weaker than the dollar, and it made no financial sense. But Saddam wasn't making a financial decision. He was making a political one. He was telling the world that a sovereign nation does not have to bow to the dollar. And he was right at first. The euro rose in value, and Iraq actually made money on the switch. In 2003, the United States invaded Iraq. The stated reasons were weapons of mass destruction and links to terrorism. Both turned out to be false. No weapons were ever found. No links were ever proven. The entire justification was manufactured. But here is the part they do not teach in any classroom. After Saddam was removed, the new government, backed by the United States, quietly converted Iraq's oil sales back to dollars. No announcement, no press conference. It just happened. The war cost over 1 million Iraqi lives. It destabilized the entire Middle East. It created the conditions for the rise of ISIS. And when it was over, the dollar was back in charge. Mission accomplished. If you've been watching the news this weekend and wondering what's really going on, this is it. Hit that like button and subscribe, because the pattern doesn't stop with Iraq, Gaddafi, and the gold dinar. Now, here's where it gets personal for every Black person watching this. In 2009, Muammar Gaddafi, who was chair of the African Union at the time, proposed something that terrified every Western financial institution on the planet. He wanted to create a unified African currency backed by gold. He called it the gold dinar. The plan was radical and it was specific. African and Muslim nations would sell oil and natural resources only for gold dinars, not dollars, not euros. Gold. Libya alone held 143 tons of gold reserves to back it. Countries like Nigeria, Tunisia, Egypt, and Angola were ready to join. Think about what that would have meant. Africa holds 30% of the world's mineral resources. It holds massive oil reserves across Libya, Nigeria, Angola, and Algeria. If those nations collectively refused to sell their resources for dollars and demanded gold instead, the entire Western financial system would have been shaken to its core. The plan was also designed to replace the CFA franc, the currency France forces its former African colonies to use to this day. 14 African nations are still required to store 50% of their foreign reserves in the French treasury. That's not economics. That's colonial extraction with a bank account. Gaddafi's gold dinar would have ended that. It would have given Africa financial independence for the first time since colonization. We know exactly how the West reacted because the emails were leaked. In 2015, a cache of Hillary Clinton's emails became public. One of them, from her advisor Sidney Blumenthal, stated plainly that French intelligence had discovered Gaddafi's gold currency plan and that it directly influenced France's decision to lead the NATO attack on Libya. France's then-president Nicolas Sarkozy reportedly called Gaddafi a threat to the financial security of the world. Not a military threat, a financial one. A man leading a country of 6 million people was considered a threat to the global financial order because he wanted Africa to have its own money. In March 2011, NATO launched its bombing campaign. By October, Gaddafi was dead, dragged from a drain pipe, and executed on camera. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton responded to the news on CBS by laughing and saying, "We came, we saw, he died." What Libya became. Now here's what the liberation of Libya actually produced. Before NATO intervened, Libya had the highest human development index in all of Africa. Free education, free healthcare. The Great Man-Made River, the world's largest irrigation project, provided free fresh